Chapter 2186. Shen Ruoming and the nameless old man are fighting. Qin Yin suddenly has a feeling that he wants to watch the show. He did not immediately go over. Instead, he floated in the distance and crossed his arms in front of his chest. "Why don't you guys fight?" Qin Yin waited for a while and saw that the two of them are still playing cross-eyed. So he shouted. The nameless old man really wants to slap Qin Yin to death. Even at this time, he is still not coming over to help. He is facing a lot of pressure. Shen Ruoming is also secretly cursing Qin Yin in his heart. He naturally knows that Qin Yin wants to take this opportunity to see how strong he is. Maybe he wants to sneak attack or something. "Little friend, you are quite free," the nameless old man said. He is now releasing a hidden power to compete with Shen Ruoming. Qin Yin can feel the two auras, but he has no way of knowing how strong they are. He used his heavenly eye and can only see the two energy mists colliding with each other. Shen Ruoming did not show any weakness at all. His arrogant aura is very arrogant, giving the nameless old man a lot of pressure. "You guys can fight without worry. I won't launch a sneak attack or help anyone." Qin Yin shouted. Nine Sun Heavenly Clan and Divine Heaven Race. They both sound like Heavenly Race? Could it be that you were once family? That's great. You guys can decide who is better now. Won't launch a sneak attack. I see that you have already prepared more than 10 kinds of sneak attacks. Shen Ruoming coldly groaned and said, "We in the Nine Sun Heavenly Clan are irreconcilable. What bullshit family." Qin Yin promptly clapped his hands and said with a smile, "Don't worry. My nickname is Honest Qin. For honest people like us, even if you want me to launch a sneak attack, I won't do it. Hurry up and fight. Since you are irreconcilable, when you meet, you will look at me and I will look at you. Only lovers will do this." "Damn you." The nameless old man can't help but curse. "Little friend, quickly come over and help me. Slap that bastard." Qin Yin naturally won't go over. Although he is not afraid of Shen Ruoming, he doesn't know his background. If both sides were to suffer, it would affect his plan to flatten the Sword Sun God Mountain. "You want to bully the few with numbers?" Shen Ruoming said with sneer. "Then come. I can suppress you with just 3 fingers." The nameless old man laughed coldly. "With just 3 of your fingers? You can't even clean my butt, and you still want to beat me up? You shameless old bastard. Your mouth is filled with vulgar words." The Nine Suns Heavenly Clan's despicable nature is vividly displayed by you, cursed Shen Ruoming. Qin Yin secretly agreed with Shen Ruoming. The nameless old man still had a sneer on his face as he said, "In terms of despicableness, we can't even compare to your divine sky race." Shen Ruoming suddenly looked at Qin Yin and said, "If you want to attack me together with this old man, then come. Don't worry, I won't do it with him." Qin Yin suddenly felt that these words were a bit strange. The nameless old man shouted, "Little friend, this guy is just bluffing. Don't look at how calm he looks. In fact, he's panicking to death. If you join forces with me, we'll definitely be able to beat him until he cries for his parents." "Then come." Shen Ruoming smiled. "Let alone 2 of you. Even if there were 20 of you, I wouldn't be afraid." Qin Yin doesn't plan to attack because he and Shen Ruoming don't have any grudges. At most, they only boasted a few rather arrogant words to each other. Furthermore, Shen Ruoming is very afraid of the Nine Sun Divine Maiden. Otherwise, with his lofty and unyielding character, he wouldn't have been scared away by a few words from Bing Sheng Sr. "I said that I am an honest person. I have never done anything like bullying others with numbers. An honest person like me is often besieged by many people." Qin Yin sighed and said. The nameless old man suddenly said, "Little demon from the divine sky race, how about we shout 3 and then stop at the same time?" "I don't trust you," Shen Ruoming said. "How about you shout?" The nameless old man said. "The 2 of them are fighting. If they don't stop at the same time, then one of them will definitely be injured." Shen Ruoming said, "How about this? I shout 3 and then release formidable divine power together to shake them away. This way, it will be safer." It can be seen that Shen Ruoming also doesn't want to continue like this. Qin Yin is secretly apprehensive. He never expected that the nameless old man would have some strength. He actually made Shen Ruoming compromise. All right. The nameless old man nodded and said, 1, 2, 3. Shinruoming and the nameless old man shouted together. Boom! They really did release a very powerful divine power. Two formidable divine power collided and produced a burst of energy wave. They were also sent flying. Qinyan said with smile, I say, you are so wishy-washy. You don't even want to fight. Why are you fighting? Shinruoming looked at Qinyan and said, as the saying goes, one who keeps company with ink will be stained black. You better stay away from this vulgar old man as soon as possible. Nine-sun heavenly race people are not little sheep. This is my advice to you. Little friend, you know this guy? The nameless old man asked. We met once before, and we almost fought. Qinyan said with smile, but he was afraid of me, so he didn't fight. Shinruoming said with frown, Afraid of you? When have I ever been afraid of you? I, Shinruoming, am not even afraid of death. What do I have to be afraid of? Qinyan said with smile, That's where you are wrong. In this world, there is something even more terrifying than death, that is living a life worse than death. Living a life worse than death. Qinyan truly experienced it before. Moreover, it lasted for a very long time. If you're not afraid of me, then draw your sword. Qinyan looked at Shinruoming and said indifferently, You are not worthy for me to draw my sword. The sword in Shinruoming's hand indeed gives people an indescribable pressure. Therefore, Qinyan is very curious about what kind of sword it is. The nameless old man arrived beside Qinyan and said in low voice, Little friend, that guy's sword is not a joke. Shinruoming looked at Qinyan and proudly smiled. That vulgar old man knows that my sword is powerful, but what he doesn't know is that I am even stronger than my sword. Don't worry, if I want to kill you, I don't even need to use my sword. I can directly exterminate you. You already have such a powerful sword. Why do you still need the myriad heaven divine sword? Qinyan asked. I want the myriad heaven divine sword to refine my sword. If my sword devours the myriad heaven divine sword, it will definitely become the strongest sword, Shinruoming said. At that time, I will also be invincible in all the myriad heavens and myriad worlds. Qinyan has seen many people who claim to be invincible, but only Shinruoming has this kind of demeanor. The nameless old man waved his hand and said, Your divine heaven race rarely comes out. Did you come alone, or did you come with your elders? My elders are also here, but I'm acting alone. With my strength, I don't need the protection of my elders. Shinruoming said. On the other hand, the few youngsters of her nine-sun heavenly race came with a group of elders like babies in swaddling clothes. What a joke! The nameless old man cursed in low voice and said, Little demon of the divine heaven race, don't think that your divine heaven race is very strong. This divine desolate is so vast, there will definitely be even more powerful creatures born. Only a weak race like you would be so apprehensive. Our divine sky race has never been afraid of anyone in the divine desolate heavens. Shinruoming said arrogantly. The nameless old man's expression is filled with anger as he said, I really want to beat this guy up. Please, Qinyan said with smile. Forget it. I'm already so old. I won't lower myself to the level of this arrogant little demon. The nameless old man snorted. Shinruoming looked at the incomparably huge Sword Sun Divine Mountain and then flew over. The nameless old man thought for a moment, gave Qinyan a meaningful glance, and said, Little friend, come with me. All right. Qinyan followed behind the nameless old man. Little friend, you didn't attack just now. It was very clear. If we were too impulsive, we would definitely suffer. The nameless old man suddenly said, Oh, Qinyan said with a frown. What do you mean? I thought that little demon would come by himself. I didn't expect that there would be elders of the divine heaven race. If we bully that little demon here, we will definitely be beaten up by his elders. The nameless old man said. Qinyan is somewhat speechless. This nameless old man actually has such a big concern. Senior, is there a big conflict between your nine-sun heavenly race and the divine heaven race? Qinyan asked. Eternal enmity, what do you think? The nameless old man curled his lips and said, But we won't fight because many powerful races want us to fight each other until both sides are injured, and then they can take advantage of us. Qin Yun also understood why the nameless old man and Shun Ruoming only fought each other and they didn't directly fight. So there was this reason. Shun Ruoming, who was flying in front, suddenly stopped. "Hey, why aren't you walking?" the nameless old man said. Shun Ruoming suddenly placed his hand on the hilt of his sword. He is about to pull out his sword. The nameless old man's expression suddenly changed. He promptly took out a long saber and said solemnly, "Little friend, prepare to fight." "Fight? Fight who?" Qin Yun is apprehensive. "Just run away. You can't beat anyone," Shun Ruoming said. "This is our primal god race's matter." Qin Yun is somewhat dumbfounded because the nameless old man doesn't want to fight Shun Ruoming. They want to deal with someone even stronger. They are sworn enemies, yet they also have a common enemy. Heavenly devil god race. If you come, then you come. Why are you hiding? After not seeing you for so many years, could it be that you have become cowardly mice after cultivating so much? Shun Ruoming loudly shouted. Heavenly devil god race. Hearing these words, Qin Yun realized that this is an evil and powerful race. After not seeing each other for so many years, the divine heaven race and the nine-sun heavenly race, these two sworn enemies, are actually together. Truly unexpected. A voice came. After the voice came, a black energy suddenly rushed over and attacked Qin Yun. The nameless old man promptly waved his saber and cut the black energy. He said with sneer, "As expected of the heavenly devil god race, your sneak attacks are still so proficient." The voice came again and said with sneer, "Nine-sun heavenly race, you have actually fallen to the point of mixing with fools? Still protecting fools like this, you have truly declined greatly." Before, when Qin Yun met the divine sword race, they also called him fools. He now understands that in the eyes of those powerful races, the humans of the divine desolate are all fools. Chapter 2187. Shun Ruoming knew that Qin Yun was not weak, but he still felt that Qin Yun was far from being able to deal with the heavenly demon god race. "Course, old man, take this guy away. Leave the heavenly demon god race guys to me. You two hindrances staying here will interfere with my performance." Shun Ruoming's eyes were cold and his tone was calm. Shun Ruoming's current arrogant potential was the strongest. The nameless old man arrived beside Qin Yun. He placed his hand on Qin Yun's shoulder and said with a smile, "Little friend, let's go. Since this guy said so, what are we still staying here for?" Qin Yun did not want to leave because he was attacked by the heavenly demon god race guys and was almost killed. If he did not take revenge on the heavenly demon god race guys, he would not be the Nine-Yang Palace King. Although he did not want to leave, Qin Yun was still taken away. The nameless old man also brought Qin Yun far away from the battlefield. Although they were quite far away from Shun Ruoming, they could roughly see the situation there. Originally, the heavenly demon god clan would not have allowed them to leave. However, Shun Ruoming was very strong, and he blocked the heavenly demon god clan. The heavenly demon god race people had already appeared. They were 3 people wearing silver armor. They held huge ivory weapons in their hands. They looked like sabers, but they did not have sharp edges. The young man in the lead had a head of silver gray, elegant hair, and his eyes flickered with green light. The silver gray armor on his body gave off a very strong power, similar to the Myriad Realm's divine sun, but also not very similar. Qin Yun had previously seen the divine sword race's power that was similar to the Myriad Realm's divine Sunday. And if the nameless old man and Shun Ruoming released their power, it would be similar to the Myriad Realm's divine sun's power. Qin Yun suspected that the ancient races had grasped some kind of power that could absorb the power of the Myriad Realm's divine Sunday. Or perhaps their race had a celestial body similar to the Myriad Realm's divine Sunday. If I become stronger through the power of the divine universe purple sun, what kind of race would I be? Qin Yun pondered. He was previously worried that his divine universe purple sun would be sensed, especially when the divine sword race was chasing him. Later on, He was certain that the divine sword race could not sense his divine universe purple Sunday, Shunruoming, the nameless old man, and the heavenly demon god race could not sense its existence either. This made Qin feel very relieved. Shunruoming still did not draw his sword, but his hand was on the hilt of his sword, ready to draw it at any time. You should be a Mo Duqian, right? Shunruoming said coldly as he looked at the silver-haired youth. You are God Ruoming, right? Mo Duqian smiled coldly and arrogantly. We have met for the first time, but we understand each other very well. Shunruoming said coldly, No, you don't understand me, and it's impossible for you to understand me. In this world, no one can understand me. You really are the same as the rumors. Mo Duqian laughed heartily and said, But you are far worse than me. Too far apart. Shunruoming sneered. That's because you're weaker than me, right? Mo Duqian smiled proudly and said, I'm already a sky demon god Viscount, and you are just a baron. What do you think? Something like a noble title is just an empty title. In my divine heaven race, experts without noble titles are everywhere. Kings and dukes being defeated by people without noble titles is a very common sight in the divine heaven race. Shunruoming said. Hearing their voices, Qin promptly asked the nameless old man beside him, Senior, what is your noble title in the nine-sun heavenly race? Me. I'm a king, the nameless old man said. Really? Doesn't seem like it. Qin said with a look of disdain. This nameless old man is a very boorish fellow, yet he is actually a king. The nameless old man curled his lips and said, Believe it or not. Qin asked again, Is noble title important in these ancient races? It's very important. Powerful clans all have a very powerful clan emperor. This is the supreme ruler. Next are kings. Among the ancient races, there are usually no more than 10 kings. Then there are dukes, marquises, counts. They are generally the subordinates of kings and have their own power. As for viscounts and barons, most of them are the children of those kings and dukes. The nameless old man's expression is very serious as he looked into the distance and explained in a low voice. Senior, are you really a king? After Qin found out about the importance of noble title in the ancient races, he felt that the nameless old man was not a king. Fake. If I was a king, how could I brag to a small character like you? I'm just a count. The nameless old man chuckled and said. Qin knew that it was impossible for this nameless old man to have such a high status. Then what about the little grandson I killed before? Could he be a descendant of a king? Qin said in shock. If he really is a descendant of a king, you won't be able to kill him. Even if you killed him, you would already be dead. The ancestors of the strongest bloodline of the primal chaos race all have noble titles. The worst are marquis. The nameless old man said, The primal chaos race that is flaunting their might in the divine desolate is nothing but a bunch of mud. However, they're still stronger than many people in the divine desolate. Shunruoming has a noble title. Although it is the lowest kind, it means that his family is very powerful. Mo Duqian's noble title is one level higher than Shunruoming's. Therefore, he feels that he is stronger than Shunruoming. Senior, what is the cultivation of Shunruoming and Mo Duqian? Qin asked. They should only be peak heavenly god and will soon become sacred god. These youngsters' bloodline is incomparably pure, so old bones like us are not their match. The nameless old man said. Qin is secretly alarmed. The nameless old man is a count of the nine-sun heavenly race, but he is not a match for the divine sky race's weakest baron. Your nine-sun heavenly race's count is weaker than the divine sky race's baron. How is this possible? Qin is very doubtful. The nameless old man saw Qin's disdainful gaze and said, Noble titles are also bestowed based on merit. I'm not very strong, but I have made great contributions. In that case, you could be considered a water noble. Qin said with a smile. You trash. The nameless old man snorted and said, They're preparing to fight. I won't talk to you anymore. I want to concentrate and find an opportunity to sneak attack Mo Duqian. Qin is also the same. He wants to find an opportunity to stab Mo Dutian in the back. Previously, he actually shot him in the back and even called him an idiot. Qin Yun wants to let Mo Dutian see how the idiot he called seriously injured him. Xiao Yun, Mo Dutian, and Shen Ruoming are very strong, but that is only because their cultivation is high. If you were a great god, you would be able to easily deal with them. Ling Yuner said, yes, but if I want to defeat them now, it should be possible, but it will be more strenuous. Qin Yun has cultivated the fourth mysterious god, Dao Vane. In addition to his dual bloodline body, he is still very strong. Of course, if he cultivated the fifth mysterious god, Dao Vane, it would be even more stable. Just as Qin Yun is calculating his approximate strength, the nameless old man shouted excitedly, "Little friend, that brat Shen Ruoming has drawn his sword." What surprised Qin Yun is that the sword is only as thick as a thumb. It is a very thin sword, but it has a very formidable power. In that instant, Qin Yun could feel the sword aura vibrating over, as well as that kind of terrifying, arrogant aura. How can this guy's sword be so strong? Qin Yun said in shock. Shen Ruoming was born in a king family. The king in his family is the heavenly sword king of the divine heaven race. The nameless old man said. No wonder he came to snatch the myriad heaven divine sword. Qin Yun nodded and said, I wonder if the heavenly sword king has come. The nameless old man's face revealed a trace of fear. Among the powerful ancient races, the strength of the dukes and kings are not weak. Otherwise, they would not be able to obtain this kind of status. Those kings shouldn't have come personally, right? Shen Ruoming said that when he draws his sword, someone will definitely die. And now Shen Ruoming is not fighting one-on-one with Mo Dutian. He is fighting one against three heavenly devil god race people. How can they be so shameless? They want to fight with numbers? Qin Yun said with frown. Only fools would fight against divine heaven race people. If they fight against divine heaven race people, they must attack in groups, otherwise people will laugh at them for being fools. The nameless old man said, Then why did you fight against Shen Ruoming before? Could it be that you are also a fool? Qin Yun said with smile. I was indeed a fool. I thought he was a weak guy. I did not expect him to be a baron. Moreover, he is from the heavenly sword king family. The nameless old man thought about it and is somewhat afraid. While Qin Yun and the nameless old man are talking, the thin sword in Shen Ruoming's hand suddenly pierced through the head of a heavenly devil god race person. Mo Dutian's expression is cold and grave. He underestimated Shen Ruoming's strength. However, Mo Dutian is also not weak. The ivory-like weapon in his hand is very strong. After clashing against Shen Ruoming's thin sword a few times, it did not leave any mark. Mo Dutian, is this all you have? Heavenly devil god race's viscount is so much weaker than my divine heaven race's baron? Shen Ruoming sneered in cold voice. Mo Dutian has already lost a soldier. If this goes on, he and the other soldier will be killed. Shen Ruoming, you are indeed very strong. We will meet again someday. Although Mo Dutian is very arrogant, he treasures his life even more. If this goes on, he will die. Just as Mo Dutian finished speaking, the other heavenly devil god race person was also killed. Just you wait for me. Mo Dutian used some kind of powerful secret technique and released a burst of strong spatial fluctuation. Then he entered the space. At the same time, Qin Yun's divine king spear shot out a bullet. This is a spatial bullet. After it was shot out, it released a very strong spatial fluctuation. Mo Dutian, who originally thought he could use spatial power to escape, was suddenly shaken back by a spatial fluctuation. Mo Dutian is near Qin Yun and the nameless old man. The nameless old man said in shock, Little friend, what did you do? Chapter 2188. Mo Dutian used a very powerful spatial escape divine talisman. This kind of divine talisman is a very precious existence among the ancient races. As long as he uses this kind of divine talisman, he will definitely be able to escape. The nameless old man and Shen Ruoming both have this kind of divine talisman, so they're very clear about how powerful it is. However, Mo Duqian, who used this kind of spatial escape divine talisman, has been intercepted by Qin Yun. This startled the nameless old man so much that he almost shouted out, "Awesome!" Shen Ruoming is very shocked and became even more vigilant towards Qin Yun. "You, what did you do to me?" Mo Duqian furiously shouted. He crazily released the formidable divine power within his body and attacked the nine-dragon heavenly origin formations barrier. "You actually don't know what I did to you," Qin Yun said with sneer. Bang! The God King spear in his hand shot out a fiery red bullet that brought along a string of lightning and flew over. At the same time, the nine-dragon heavenly origin formations barrier also opened, allowing the bullet to enter. Although the nine-dragon heavenly origin formation has stopped, it still released 9 formidable powers that bound Mo Duqian. The bullet pierced through Mo Duqian's head, causing him to let out a painful scream. What caused Qin Yun to be alarmed is that Mo Duqian is not dead. Only a bloody hole has appeared in his head. Qin Yun also took back the bullet and returned it to the God King's spear. "You really want to kill him?" Shen Ruoming said in cold voice. "He is a viscount of the heavenly devil god race. If you kill him, the heavenly devil god race will not let you off." Qin Yun said with frown. "Didn't you want to kill him just now?" "What? You won't let me kill him now?" "I don't want to kill him. I know he can run away," Shen Ruoming said. Qin Yun thought about it, then sealed the injured Mo Duqian and locked him inside the heavenly lion dragon suppressing cauldron. Since he is a viscount, he must have many good things on him, the nameless old man said in low voice. "Little friend, that guy is a viscount. His position is very high." Shen Ruoming said to Qin Yun, "Don't worry, I will definitely report this matter to the heavenly devil god race." "Why?" Qin Yun asked. "Can't you help me keep it a secret? I left behind a lot of my aura in the battle just now. The heavenly demon god race would definitely sense it. Their viscount is missing, so they will naturally suspect me. I don't want to cause trouble, so I can only tell them the truth." Shen Ruoming said, "Your strength is not bad. The heavenly demon god race will definitely not be able to do anything to you." "Yes." The nameless old man laughed and said, "Today's weather is really good. Both of you, I have something to do, so I'll take my leave." Yes, the nameless old man ran away just like that. He was also worried that he would be implicated. Viscounts of the ancient races had a lot of status. It meant that they had the backing of a duke or even a king. It was also possible that there were earls and marquises in the viscount's father's generation. Qin Yun punched a hole in Mo Duqian's head. Although Mo Duqian is not dead, the enmity between them has already been completely formed. Shen Ruoming also expressed that he would expose this matter, so the nameless old man could only slip away. If he was implicated, he would definitely be in trouble. "You're really fearless. I wish you good luck." Shen Ruoming suddenly smiled at Qin Yun. No one knows what his smile means. After Shen Ruoming finished speaking, he also left. Qin Yun blew the muzzle of his spear, curled his lips, and said, "What bullshit heavenly demon god race. I thought they were very powerful. I didn't expect that they would be knocked down by my spear." Actually, Shen Ruoming is also a bit panicked in his heart because he knows that Qin Yun's true strength does not lie on the surface, especially those 9 altars that were as huge as mountains. The formation they formed was extremely terrifying. It could even seal Mo Duqian. Qin Yun distanced himself from the battlefield, then drilled deep into the ground and released the floating cloud pagoda. He entered one of the cities of the floating cloud pagoda and released the 9 small altars to form the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. Then he released Mo Duqian and threw him into the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. "Brother, we have never met before. We have no grudges at all. So why do you want to kill me?" Qin Yun looked at Mo Duqian, whose head is bleeding, and said with a sigh, "I'm just a harmless and honest man, yet you still dare to kill me?" When Mo Duqian was released, his face was filled with stupefaction. After hearing Qin Yun's words, he loudly cursed. "Honest your sister, harmless your grandpa. Can an honest man beat Mo Duqian's head until it bleeds? Can an innocent man capture Mo Du Tian and mock him? Qin Yun chuckled and said, "But no matter what, you attacked me first. I already said that I am an honest man. You shot a hidden weapon at me to take my life. That is what I owe you. Therefore, I also shot a hidden weapon at you to take your life. You, who the hell are you? You are definitely not that kind of stupid person." Mo Du Tian already realized that the person in front of him is much more dreadful than Shun Ruoming. Although Shun Ruoming is very strong, he is not shady at all. He is still open and above board. And this guy in front of him, who claims to be an honest man, is simply a peerless sly old fox. Is stupid another way to call an honest man? Qin Yun laughed and said, "Previously, there were 3 sword people from the Divine Sword race who also called me that." What? 3 sword people from the Divine Sword race? Could it be? Mo Du Tian suddenly stood up in shock and shouted, "Divine Sword race just lost 3 sword kings and war gods. Could it be? You did it?" Qin Yun said, "Are those 3 sword kings and war gods very powerful?" Mo Du Tian is so scared that he let out a pig cry. Not to mention Mo Du Tian. Even if Shun Ruoming knew, he would also let out a pig cry. They are sword kings and war gods. Do you know what they are? They are the disciples of Divine Sword race's King Ju. They will definitely become counts in the future. Mo Du Tian said in shock, You actually killed them." Qin Yun originally asked those 3 sword people with his mind, and indeed found out that they're sword kings and war gods. But he did not expect that their status would be so high. "So what?" Qin Yun said with smile. "Who told them to bully an honest man like me? Fuck your uncle." Mo Du Tian cannot help but curse. He killed 3 sword kings and war gods, and he is still talking wittily and wittily. How can he be an honest man? Qin Yun said with frown, "Are you really a powerful ancient race? How come you're a bit weak, different from what I imagined?" In the depths of Qin Yun's memory, because he was beaten up by a child from Primal Chaos race, he always thought that people from powerful ancient races were very strong. And now, it seems like they're not that strong. Actually, Qin Yun did not realize that he is very strong in this life. Especially the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation on the 9-sun dragon altar and the 9 desolate divine saber. They are all very dreadful things. Furthermore, he has the bloodline of the 9-sun royal race and 9-sun heavenly race. "Who are you?" Mo Du Tian asked again. "Who am I?" Qin Yun shook his head. "I also don't know." Mo Du Tian covered the place where his head was pierced and said, "Don't kill me. I am a heavenly devil god race viscount. Even Shun Ruoming knows not to kill me and also knows my status. I can give you some benefits." Qin Yun's eyes flickered as he said, "Do you have the heavenly devil god race's bloodline divine origin? The best kind. What do you want?" "My heavenly devil god race's bloodline divine source is only suitable for people who cultivate evil devil divine power." "Are you evil enough?" Mo Du Tian said this and felt that he was a fool. This honest person in front of him is evil to the extreme. If he is not suitable to fuse with heavenly devil bloodline divine source, then no one is more suitable. Of course I am not evil. I am a good person. Qin Yun said with smile. "Evil cannot defeat good. The righteous power in my body can definitely suppress all evil. I can give you the best heavenly devil bloodline divine source, and you will let me go, right?" Mo Du Tian's confidence increased by a lot. "Of course not. In my eyes, your life is very precious. A bloodline divine source cannot exchange for your life. You know this better than me," Qin Yun said with smile. Mo Du Tian cursed in his heart. He is truly afraid of Qin Yun's smile. Although it looks like a harmless and foolish smile, it is the most terrifying smile of a devil. "What else do you want?" Mo Du Tian asked again. "This? I haven't thought of it yet. If you want to make a deal with an honest person like me, you can rest assured. I won't have any excessive requests," Qin Yun said. Soon after, he took out Spirit Creation Heavenly Cauldron. Seeing that small blue cauldron with wings, Mo Du Tian screamed, "Ah, it's Spirit Creation Heavenly Cauldron. Ah, it's Spirit Creation Heavenly Cauldron. Oh, you recognize this small cauldron?" Qin Yun said. "How did this thing end up in your hands?" Mo Dutian looked at Qin Yun with a face full of fear. This, I picked it up, Qin Yun said with a smile. I want to put your soul inside and brand it with the strongest soul contract. Only like this, I can be completely at ease. Qin Yun can remove the soul contract by himself. Maybe those powerful ancient races can as well. He is well aware of this, Dao. That's why he wants to make the strongest soul contract. What can Mo Dutian do? He only feels that he is extremely unlucky. Not only did he encounter someone with a lower title than him, but his strength crushed his deity roaming. He even fell into the hands of a peerless old bastard. He can only release his soul with tears in his eyes and let Qin Yun ravage him. Qin Yun used the spirit creation heavenly cauldron to refine the soul contract's soul power that is very difficult to separate and firmly branded it in the depths of Mo Dutian's soul. Before finishing, Qin Yun immediately put away the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation. The consumption of the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation is quite large. Mo Dutian doesn't dare to do anything to Qin Yun now. Otherwise, he would rather die than live. Little Mo, how many powerful people from your heavenly devil god race came this time? Qin Yun asked. This, senior. How should I address you? Mo Dutian became very polite. A wise man submits to circumstances. If he wants to live, he can only pretend to be a grandson. Chapter 2189. What Qin Yun lacks the most is the bloodline divine origin of a powerful race. It is something that can strengthen his body. If he killed Mo Dutian, Qin Yun would not be able to obtain anything. It would be better to control Mo Dutian and crazily squeeze out his value. Oh, that's right. What is the origin of that sword in Shun Ruoming's hand? It seems very powerful. Qin Yun said. Shun Ruoming is a sword cultivator. His sword is an origin divine sword passed down from his ancestors. His family has a heavenly sword king noble. That heavenly sword king noble's origin divine sword can give birth to small origin swords. Those small origin swords are not many and can only be passed down to the most talented descendants. Then, between me and Shun Ruoming, who do you think is stronger? Qin Yun is suddenly very curious. Mo Dutian is startled and did not immediately answer. Qin Yun said, Answer truthfully. Mo Dutian shook his head and said, It's hard to say. Master Qin, you are indeed very strong. This little brother admires you from the bottom of my heart, but that Shun Ruoming is also not weak. After all, he is a sword cultivator. I don't have any grudges with him, but this guy is very strong after all. It's good to guard against him. Qin Yun nodded and said, Mo Dutian is secretly alarmed. He did not expect that Qin Yun would have this kind of thought towards Shun Ruoming. It seems like he is not afraid of Shun Ruoming at all. Master Qin, you killed the 3 sword kings of divine sword race. This matter must not be spread out, or there will be endless trouble. Mo Dutian said. Xiao Mo, have you heard of Nine Sun Goddess? Qin Yun suddenly asked. He still remembers Shun Ruoming saying that Nine Sun Goddess is in the transformation realm. Moreover, she angered Bing Xing. This is taboo. I don't know much about it. Mo Dutian's face revealed a trace of horror. He lowered his voice and said, Regarding the matter of Nine Sun Goddess, we cannot speak carelessly in my heavenly devil god race. Moreover, everything related to this matter has been sealed. Qin Yun lightly inhaled a mouthful of air. He suddenly felt that his understanding of Nine Sun Goddess is too little. Seeing Qin Yun pondering, Mo Dutian said in low voice, Master Qin, did you provoke Nine Sun Goddess? Qin Yun did not continue talking about Nine Sun Goddess. Instead, he asked, What is the reaction of your powerful races when Nine Sun royal race reappeared? I'm very surprised. The Nine Suns royal family used to be very powerful, but internal divisions led to their extinction. Back then, they could still be considered a very powerful clan. Mo Dutian said, When the Nine Sun royal race was at its peak, powerful races like you did not appear in the Nine Sun heavenly domain. Qin Yun said, We came to the Nine Suns heavenly region before, but we were all captured and sealed in that damned ancient desolation. That's why we sent people here. Mo Du Tian said. Now that the myriad heavens and 10,000 worlds have merged together, we can move freely in the divine desolate. Qin Yun was alarmed. Back in the ancient desolate lands, the group of powerful fellows he encountered was not only the chaos race, but also other powerful races. If the Nine Suns hadn't stopped those powerful races, the Nine Suns' heavenly region would have been destroyed. The nameless old man had never told him about these things. Therefore, Qin Yun suspected that the nameless old man's Nine Suns' heavenly clan might also have people sealed in the ancient desolate land. Grandpa Qin, are you not from any of the powerful clans? Mo Du Tian asked. And I was born and raised in the Nine Sun heavenly domain. Qin Yun said with smile. I am very curious about you powerful races. Mo Du Tian exclaimed in admiration. I really didn't expect that the Nine Sun heavenly domain is also a land of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. My clan's elder said that the divine desolate is very big, so big that it can give birth to all kinds of unknown powerful life forms and races. The divine desolate is very big, and it is getting bigger and bigger every moment. Indeed, the area we are in right now is only a small area of the divine desolate. Qin Yun said, I only heard that the myriad realm's divine sun devoured many heavenly suns. That's why it became so powerful. Mo Du Tian said with emotion, maybe one day, the myriad realm's divine sun will become a very large divine universe purple Sunday. That will be the most powerful and most terrifying. Qin Yun brought Mo Du Tian out of the floating cloud pagoda and arrived on ground. As Mo Du Tian walked, he combed his elegant silver-gray hair. His pierced head had more or less recovered by now. Master Qin, how can I contact you in the future? Mo Du Tian asked. There are two talismans here. One can track me, and the other can track a friend of mine. His name is Dog God. Qin Yun took out two soul-chasing talismans and handed them to Mo Du Tian. After Mo Du Tian received them, he respectfully bid farewell to Qin Yun and quickly flew away. Qin Yun thought that he will soon be able to obtain the bloodline divine origin of a powerful race, and his mood immediately became a lot better. At most, he can only open the fifth mysterious divine Dao vein. If he fuses with the bloodline divine origin of the heavenly devil god race, he can at least open the sixth mysterious divine vein. Qin Yun whistled and flew towards the Sword Sun God Mountain. Bing Xing and others have already gone to the Sword Sun God Mountain. Their target is the Sword Sun God Mountain's Grand Elder, Xianyang Hong. Although Qin Yun said to let Bing Xing and Liu Shuyan take action, he has his own thoughts. Furthermore, he wants to flatten the Sword Sun God Mountain. No matter what, the Sword Sun God Mountain once betrayed the Nine Suns and did a very malicious thing to snatch the origin sword of sword cultivators. Getting rid of this malicious sect is also the responsibility of the King of Gods and the Nine Sun Palace King. Qin Yun flew for more than an hour, and the nameless old man suddenly appeared in front of him. Senior, didn't you have something to do? You settled it so quickly? Qin Yun said with a smile. Little friend, you have caused a huge disaster. The nameless old man said, that grandson, Shinruoming, will definitely report you. You must not go to the peak of the Sword Sun God Mountain. Qin Yun said, oh, that's right. What is the situation at the peak of the Sword Sun God Mountain? How many people have come? All kinds of experts have already gathered there, waiting for the divine sword to come into being. The nameless old man said, heavenly devil god race, people will naturally also go. Furthermore, that Shinruoming will definitely report you. Qin Yun is not worried about this matter at all, because Mo Du Tian has already completely submitted. Oh, that's right. Did the Sword Sun God Mountain invite your Nine-Sun heavenly clan? Qin Yun asked. You should be considered as honored guests, right? The nameless old man said with a smile. Of course, we strong races are their honored guests. Senior, how about this? Bring me to the peak of the Sword Sun God Mountain. I have something to discuss with that Grand Elder. I want to give him a gift. Qin Yun said. Qin Yun took out a box. Inside the box is Xiang Yunjian's head. This. You know that Grand Elder? That guy's name is Xiang Yanghong. His strength is pretty good. He is someone that all kinds of strong races want to rope in. The nameless old man saw Qin Yun's sincerity and said in low voice, I heard that when you were the God King, you were besieged by many factions. Qin Yun chuckled and said, That's all in the past. You also said that everyone wants to rope in Xiang Yanghong. I also want to. The nameless old man carefully thought about it and rejected Qin Yun. He said with a smile, Little friend, you should think of a way yourself. Finished speaking, the nameless old man immediately slipped away. He knows that Qin Yun is very good at stirring up trouble. He might even poke a big hole in the ground. Qin Yun shook his head and sighed. It seems like I can only look for little Mo. He also has Mo Dutian's soul-chasing talisman. Mo Dutian is in the vicinity of the Sword Sun Divine Mountain. Qin Yun spent a day and a half to arrive near the Sword Sun Divine Mountain. The dog god's puppet avatar also found him at this time. Qin Yun took out the floating cloud pagoda and secretly discussed with the dog god inside. Boss, Thunder God indeed has a true body, is at the peak of the Sword Sun Divine Mountain, the dog god said in a grave voice. How strong is that true body? Qin Yun asked. I am still not sure, but according to the information I heard, Thunder God's true body ridiculed the divine judge at the peak. The dog god said, Thunder God's true body is indeed a powerful heavenly emperor of the heavenly law divine realm, and he even obtained a very strong bloodline. Qin Yun said with a sneer, That's even better, then I'll take care of him as well. Boss, Thunder God's true body is very strong. The divine judge and the elder pavilion master can't do anything to him for now. The dog god said, Thunder God's true body personally came to this kind of occasion and even ridiculed the divine judge. It was clearly intentional. Qin Yun is also thinking about how he will make a move when the time comes. His strongest reliance is the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation, the 9 desolate divine saber, and the floating cloud pagoda. If they were to be released, it would definitely cause a huge uproar, and his identity would naturally be exposed. Looks like I can't keep a low profile anymore. Qin Yun said, This time, more than half of my enemies are gathered here. I can't let them off. The dog god knew that Qin Yun wanted to do something big. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door and shouted, Master Qin, Mo Dutian is here. Qin Yun let Mo Dutian in. This is the dog god, Qin Yun said. Greetings, brother dog, Mo Dutian said politely. The dog god doesn't know Mo Dutian's identity and thought that he is Qin Yun's lackey, so he greeted him very politely. Little Mo, why are you here? Qin Yun asked. Master Qin, this is what you want. Mo Dutian handed over a box to Qin Yun. Qin Yun is secretly alarmed. He never expected Mo Dutian to obtain the heavenly devil bloodline divine origin so quickly. He took it, opened the box, and looked inside. He did not say anything. This Mo Dutian will definitely give him the best bloodline divine origin. After all, there is a soul contract. He won't dare to act recklessly. Little Mo, what's the situation at the peak of the Sword Sun Divine Mountain? Have you been there? Qin Yun asked. Experts from all over are gathered there. They gather together to communicate and at the same time wait for the divine sword to come into being. Mo Dutian said, Take us there. Sorry to trouble you. Qin Yun said with a smile, I want to go take a look. Mo Dutian thought that Qin Yun wants to fight over the myriad heaven divine sword, so he is not surprised. He said, No problem. When do we leave? There's no rush now. The myriad heaven divine sword shouldn't have come into being yet, right? Qin Yun said with a smile. Indeed not yet, but it should be soon. There should be about 10 days left. Mo Dutian said. 10 days is more or less enough for Qin Yun. With his perception, he should be able to open 2 more Xian God Dao veins. Chapter 2190. Mo Dutian didn't have the face to face Shun Ruoming. Previously, he brought 2 subordinates to look for Shun Ruoming. Later on, those 2 subordinates were killed by Shun Ruoming's sword. Later on, they could only flee in a sorry state and were even stopped by someone. If this matter were to spread out, Mo Dutian's reputation would definitely be greatly affected. Although Shen Ruoming and Mo Dutian are from different powerful races, their noble ranks are more or less the same. Mo Dutian is one noble rank higher than Shen Ruoming, but he lost so miserably. It can be seen that the strength of the divine heaven race's younger generation is stronger than the heavenly devil god race. The dog god and Mo Dutian left together. They will come back in 10 days. As for Qin Yun, he sees the time to open his Xian Shun Dao Meridian. This time, he must seize this rare opportunity to get rid of most of his enemies, especially Thunder God and the Nine Sun Sex people. As long as I don't face the strongest of the ancient races, I should still have the power to fight. Qin Yun's goal is not the ancient races. Of course, if the ancient races interfered, the pressure he would face would be even greater. Therefore, he had to make even more preparations now. There are quite a few ancient races that have come. Only the primal chaos god race will make a move. Their main goal is still the myriad heaven divine sword, so there shouldn't be any side issues. Ling Yuner said, "As for the primal chaos race, I wonder how strong they are. With my current strength, I shouldn't need to be too afraid of the primal chaos race." Qin Yun said in his heart, "If I were to fuse with the heavenly devil bloodline divine origin, I wouldn't be inferior to those powerful races in any aspect." Back in the ancient desolate, it was only because his body was too weak and he didn't have many Xian Shen Dao meridians. Therefore, when he reached the sacred god realm, he was much weaker in all aspects. Because those ancient races were born with powerful fleshly bodies, they would definitely walk the path of many immortals. Normal humans can't walk this path because they are limited by their bodies. In this life, Qin Yun has cultivated as many as 10 divine, profound Tao images. He also understood from the nameless old man that in the eyes of the ancient races, the more divine, profound Tao images, the better. Generally speaking, 7 divine, profound Tao images was the best, while 8, 9, or even 10 would be very risky. Because this meant that he had to open up more profound God Tao veins. And in the following stages of cultivation, the great God, the heavenly God, and the sacred God would be even more difficult than others. Some people had good talent and were able to cultivate 8 or 9 mysterious God Tao images. However, when they opened 5 or 6 profound God Tao veins, they did not dare to continue and were forever limited to the profound God stage. As for Qin Yun, his situation was even more serious. The Xian God Tao meridians he had opened were very large, causing the divine power he obtained to be even stronger. The requirements for his body were even higher. He didn't know how strong his body would be when he opened the 10th mysterious divine Tao meridian. He also didn't know how strong he would be at that time. He only knew that this path would be extremely difficult and filled with great risks. Could it be that I have to obtain the bloodline divine origins of the various powerful races? Qin Yun's heart stirred. If it was in the past, he would definitely find it difficult. However, if he had enough strength, it would still be feasible. This was because even Mo Duqian and the nameless old man were able to obtain their own race's good bloodline divine origin. All right, let's do it. Qin Yun made up his mind. It was also because his situation was rather special that he could fuse with the bloodline divine origin of multiple strong races. If it was anyone else, they might have already become a monster. After 3 days, Qin Yun had successfully opened up his 5th profound God Tao vein through the divine hammer Tao image. Qin Yun took out the 9 desolate divine blade and the 9 sun divine hammer and held them in his hands. He secretly tested them out and felt that if these 2 divine weapons were to work together, their power would definitely be extremely terrifying. However, he only tried to release the divine power of the 5 profound divine Tao veins and felt a slight pain in his body. Qin Yun took out the heavenly devil bloodline divine origin that Mo Dutian had given him and felt a very powerful force. This bloodline divine origin was black in color and surged with a very berserk power. It did not have a very strong demonic aura. Strange, The bloodline divine origin of the heavenly devil god race isn't as evil as I thought, Qin Yun said. These powerful devil Dao clans should have grasped a very effective method to suppress the evil power. The powerful devil Dao clans cultivated the devil Dao. They knew very well that if their soul and body were corroded by evil, they would go berserk and their soul would be completely corroded. This was equivalent to being killed. Qin Yun is naturally not afraid of this kind of power. He placed the heavenly devil bloodline divine origin into the nether sun and used it to refine it. He spread the power of the bloodline divine origin throughout his body. While he was fusing with the bloodline divine origin, he was also comprehending it. He wanted to open the sixth profound God Dao vein at the same time. When Qin Yun was comprehending the sixth profound God Dao vein, he suddenly felt a stabbing pain in his body. It was normal for him to have some reaction when he was fusing with the bloodline divine origin. He had felt it before, but it was not as painful as it was now. This made him have no choice but to stop opening the profound God Dao vein and focus his attention on his body. Very quickly, he understood the reason for the stabbing pain. After Qin Yun investigated it clearly, he felt extremely shocked. The blood in his body has become very powerful. It is stabbing his bones and flesh. It could be said that it is using a very rough method to temper his flesh and bones. The reason why Qin Yun feels rough is mainly because the blood has been converted to a very strong power. Therefore, it can easily tear apart his flesh and bones and infuse the powerful blood into his body through the cracks. The blood has turned purple-red. Qin Yun only felt fear and trepidation. Even the bones have turned purple-red. What kind of transformation is this? Previously, his bones were golden, and it took a very long time for them to transform. Now, in just a moment, they have directly turned purple-red. What made Qin Yun feel relieved is that his bones and blood that have turned purple-red are very powerful. It has greatly improved his body. Qin Yun is still somewhat surprised. The heavenly devil bloodline divine origin is much better than the nine-sun heavenly race's bloodline divine origin. It is not that the nameless old man tricked him, because the heavenly devil bloodline divine origin is more or less the same as the nameless old man's bloodline divine origin. Could it be that there is a reaction because of the fusion of many powerful races' bloodlines? Qin Yun thought of this and immediately took out the Gemini treasure mirror. There is a mysterious fusion heavenly rune inside the Gemini treasure mirror. The power released by the mysterious fusion heavenly rune can quickly fuse all kinds of things that are difficult to fuse. Under Qin Yun's control, the Gemini treasure mirror became bigger and floated in front of him. It released the mysterious fusion heavenly rune's power and shone it on Qin Yun's body. After Qin Yun's body was shone on, the blood in his body suddenly boiled and emitted a burst of energy mist. The most dreadful thing is that Qin Yun's skin suddenly turned pure white, then blood red, then black, blue, gold, silver. Qin Yun's skin and hair are constantly changing color. Sometimes the change speed is very fast. Sometimes it is very slow. Every time the color changes, Qin Yun feels a burst of stabbing pain. I have a nine-sun royal race's bloodline, nine-sun heavenly race's bloodline, and heavenly devil god race's bloodline within my body. Could it be that this kind of reaction occurs when three bloodlines fuse together? Just now, Qin Yun felt as if his blood wants to rush out of his body. It is struggling and surging inside his body, wanting to tear apart his skin and flesh and rush out. However, it is being suppressed by the mysterious fusion heavenly rune released by the Gemini treasure mirror. Ling Yun said, Xiao Yun, those bloodlines should not be able to fuse together. If they fuse together, they will turn into monsters. I guess that powerful races cannot intermarry and have children. Otherwise, they will give birth to strange things. But I have a mysterious fusion heavenly rune. It can make everything fuse together perfectly. Qin Yun said. Indeed, Ling Yun said with smile. It is good that you have Big Sister Ye's mysterious fusion heavenly rune. Otherwise, you would be in danger. Wait until later, You must go and thank Big Sister Yi. Qingyun also wants to see how the mysterious fusion heavenly rune inside her body is. It will be very helpful for him to research heavenly runes. After several days of suffering, Qingyun's body finally stabilized. What surprised him is that after completely fusing with the heavenly devil bloodline's divine origin, he opened his sixth mysterious divine Dao meridian through the divine Moondao image. The divine Moondao image is inside his nethermoon. After opening the mysterious divine Dao meridian through the divine Moondao image, Qingyun obtained very formidable mental power. After opening the mysterious divine Dao meridian through the divine Moondao image, my mental power is truly dreadful. Qingyun opened his heavenly eye and released the blood spirit power with all his strength. He used one thought imperial heaven art. The blood spirit power floating all around him instantly condensed into a very complex totem rune great formation. Now he doesn't need to use his finger to draw runes. He can directly use his formidable mental power to control the blood spirit power and instantly condense runes. Even if he doesn't use his heavenly eye, he can still complete very complex runes in an instant. Moreover, drawing Dao evolution runes has become even faster after all divine power is formed by fusing with Dao power. Xiaoyun, your inscription battle technique has reached a higher level. Converge formidable divine power, mental power, and body power into blood spirit power. Then use runes to burst out with power. This will reduce the burden on the body. Ling Yuner said, there's another kind of rune drawing method. It is to use the whole body to draw. Through the blood flow and meridians in the body, a complex Dao evolution rune will be condensed in the body and then released out of the body. Qingyun said, this is a very profound method of drawing runes. It is called body condensing rune technique. Then can you do it? Ling Yuner asked, under what circumstances would you need to use this method to draw runes? With a single thought, you could draw a powerful totem rune. There shouldn't be a need to use the body condensing rune technique, right? Qingyun said with a smile, great beauty Yun, you are wrong. If my body holds back a set of powerful Dao evolution runes, and then use my mental power to instantly release one, when these two are superimposed, I can instantly beat my opponent until they don't know which way is north. Chapter 2191. Qingyun also began to give it a try. Inscription battle technique. This is one of his strongest powers. At the peak of the Sword Sun Divine Mountain, if he were to face all kinds of experts with cultivation far higher than his, he would be able to use this move to stun them. Yuner, I have another idea. That is to wait until your spirit body is cultivated and you have your own consciousness, mental power in Nether Sunday. Then I can also create a set of powerful runes from you. Qingyun said with smile. At that time, he would be able to instantly release 3 sets of powerful inscription battle formations. These kinds of runes are all like great formations. Of the 3 formations, one was used to freeze the opponent, one was used to attack, and one was used to defend. Or it could be a ceiling-type inscription battle formation, or 2 offensive-type inscription battle formations. No matter what, the instant release of 3 powerful and complex inscription battle formations was very powerful. Coupled with his God King spear, he could fire a few shots at the opponent. Any old fox would be caught unprepared. Qingyun became excited just thinking about it. He wished he could immediately rush to the peak of the Sword Sun Divine Mountain and beat up all those old fellows who suppressed him. Very quickly, Qingyun cooperated with the Heavenly Eye and condensed a set of very complex runes in his body. When needed, he could release them through his body. Just you wait. Qingyun retracted the power in his body and began to adjust his state. This time, he wants to do something big. Nanyang Palace King, King of Gods, his 2 lives' deaths are all related to the Heavenly Law Divine Domain and also the 9 Suns sect. Even if primal chaos race experts come, he is not afraid. This time, he must appear in the great era of the Divine Desolate with his most powerful appearance. In the past few days, from time to time, large ships flew across the sky. and the entire Sword Sun Divine Mountain is enveloped in golden splendor. The appearance of the myriad heaven divine sword will definitely shake the 10,000 worlds of the heavens. It also means that the beginning of the great era of the divine desolate will be announced. The curtains to a new era would be drawn. This will also be the most prosperous and strongest era in history. It will definitely give birth to all kinds of powerful geniuses. Whether or not they can become the first batch of legendary figures in the divine desolate will depend on the competition after the appearance of the myriad heaven divine sword. Qin Yun's ambition did not lie with the myriad heaven divine sword because he believed that he could forge a divine armament that was stronger than the myriad heaven divine sword. If the myriad heaven divine sword fell into the hands of his enemies, then he would have to make a move. The divine court of myriad worlds was under the greatest pressure. The Grand Inquisitor and the Elder Pavilion Master had summoned the gods of the God Palace over as well. They had to maintain order, and this was their mission. The divine desolate heavens needed order. This was the mission that the myriad realms' divine son had given to the divine judge. Therefore, the divine judge represented the dignity of the divine son of the myriad realms. However, how many powerful races and experts would care about the divine judge? No one knew, because up until now, no one knew how powerful the Grand Inquisitor was. The Nine Sons royal race had been reborn, and the various powerful races had appeared before everyone's eyes. The natural law divine realm, the Nine Sons sect, and the other powerful forces began to decline. The appearance of the myriad heavens divine sword was a series of major events that had happened recently. The most eye-catching thing was the alliance between the Nine Yang royal family and the Nine Yang divine palace. This time, the Nine Yang sacred hall and the Nine Yang royal family had also sent people over. However, they weren't the strongest. At the peak of the Sword Sun Divine Mountain, the stage belonged to the young, peerless geniuses of the powerful races. Inside the floating cloud pagoda, Qin Yun adjusted his condition and changed into a set of white inscription master robes. This time, he did not disguise himself. Of course, even if he did not disguise himself, those enemies from back then might not be able to recognize him. Mo Du Qian, Dog God, Mind God, and the others were already waiting outside the floating cloud pagoda. Qin Yun let them in. After Mo Du Qian entered, his expression suddenly changed. He looked at Qin Yun with incomparable fear and opened his mouth wide, unable to say a word. "Little Mo, what's wrong?" Qin Yun asked. These days, Dog God and the others also knew that Mo Du Qian was a viscount of a powerful race. Such a fellow was actually controlled by Qin Yun. "Master Qin, can we talk in private? This matter is of great importance. We must talk in secret," Mo Du Qian said. Qin Yun suddenly thought that this might be related to the change that occurred after he fused with the heavenly devil bloodline divine source. Qin Yun brought Mo Du Qian to another floor of the floating cloud pagoda. "Master Qin, you fused with the heavenly devil bloodline divine source," Mo Du Qian said with trembling voice. "This is too fast." "Yeah, what's wrong?" Qin Yun asked. He is somewhat doubtful because he tried his best to restrain his aura. However, Mo Du Qian clearly discovered something just now. "After you fused with our heavenly devil bloodline divine source, you might have awakened the heavenly devil purple blood. Can you let me see a drop of blood?" Mo Du Qian said. Qin Yun promptly used his finger to force out a drop of purple red blood. He also wants to understand what this heavenly devil purple blood is. It seems to be true. This is the heavenly devil purple blood. Mo Du Qian exclaimed in admiration. "How can an outsider like you have the purest heavenly devil purple blood? What is heavenly devil purple blood?" Qin Yun asked. "When the babies of the various ancient races are born, they all have the bloodline of a powerful race. However, there are 3, 6, and 9 grades of bloodline," Mo Du Qian said. "Especially the primal chaos race. Their bloodline has the most grades." Qin Yun nodded and said, "I have also heard a bit." Mo Du Qian continued. "The strongest bloodline among the powerful ancient races is this strange purple blood. Others might not be able to sense it, but I can. Why can you sense it? Asked Qin Yun curiously. This is my ability. I am very sensitive to the divine universe purple energy, and my purple blood uses an aura similar to the divine universe purple energy. Mo, Du Qian said. The purple blood of strong races is also called the clan emperor bloodline. In the ancient races, if one wasn't the descendant of the race emperor but had purple blood, they would be screwed. I dropped it. Qin Yun was somewhat alarmed as he said, Purple blood is so powerful. If we nurture him, he will definitely be an expert in the clan. Wouldn't it be a waste to just kill him? No. Someone with purple blood will definitely usurp the position of the clan emperor and will pose a great threat to the clan emperor's faction. Grandpa Qin, you should know that even the descendants of the clan emperor find it very difficult to awaken purple blood. Mo Dutian said. Now Qin Yun also knows why Mo Dutian was scared. Little Mo, you aren't talking nonsense about this, right? Qin Yun said. Grandpa Qin, you can rest assured, because you are not a member of my heavenly devil god race. According to the ancient texts I read, all the people with purple blood are more or less the same. Mo Dutian said. He feels that Qin Yun is not a member of a powerful ancient race, yet he can have purple blood. Qin Yun said with a smile, To be honest, I am from the Nine Sun royal race, but later on I fused with the Nine Sun heavenly race's bloodline divine origin. What? Mo Dutian loudly shouted. Grandpa Qin, you have the bloodline of 3 powerful races? Indeed. Is it very strange? Qin Yun said. How is it not strange? This is simply impossible. Generally speaking, it is forbidden for 2 great races to marry and have children because they will give birth to some monsters. We generally call those things devil fetus. Mo Dutian looked at Qin Yun in disbelief, but he carefully thought about it and felt that whatever happened to Qin Yun should not be strange. Little Mo, don't think too much. Let's go to Sword Sun Peak. Qin Yun patted his shoulder and said with a smile, Have you arranged everything? Mo Dutian took a few deep breaths. After calming down, he said, Everything has been arranged. We can set out now. Shenruoming has not appeared in this period of time. I don't know what he is doing. You care a lot about Shenruoming. Is it because you can't beat him? Qin Yun said with a smile. Then he and Mo Dutian arrived outside the floating cloud pagoda. Mo Dutian has a very luxurious large flying boat. After Qin Yun and Dog God boarded it, they let out a few praises. Shenruoming is one of the youths who might be able to obtain the Myriad Heaven Divine Sword. I naturally want to fight for it. Mo Dutian said. Qin Yun said. Who are the popular people who can obtain the Myriad Heaven Divine Sword? Dog God said, I know the older generation are Xiang Yang Hong, Thunder God, Sword Hall Elder, Moon Dragon God. The younger generation are Sword God, Shenruoming, and also some youngsters from powerful races. Are the elders of the powerful ancient races not planning to make a move? Qin Yun asked. The elders are not in a hurry to make a move because the Myriad Heaven Divine Sword is not for them. They are still a bit apprehensive about the Myriad Realm's Divine Sun. Mo Dutian said. The large flying boat slowly flew towards the peak of the Sword Sun. Qin Yun arrived outside and looked at the peak of the magnificent mountain. He is somewhat surprised that Yushi has also come. Yushi was once the Dark Royal Race's Dark Knight Princess. She was the Moon Dragon God and also the Moon She Race's Emperor. She is the Nine Sun Royal Race's Emperor, and the Nine Sun Emperor Sword in her hand is also a very powerful divine weapon. Back then, when the Nine Sun Royal Race conquered the 3,000 heavenly domains, it was also the beginning of a golden age. The Nine Sun Royal Race was exterminated, and I was also persecuted by the heavenly law divine realm. After many eras passed, a new great era began, and the Nine Sun Royal Race was reborn. Naturally, I, the Nine Sun Palace King, cannot be absent. Qin Yun's thoughts are myriad. Thinking back to that golden age, he sighed endlessly. Now, at the beginning of this new, great era, although he had missed the first 100 years, the myriad heaven's divine, desolate, great era has truly begun. He looked at the myriad realms' divine sun in the sky. This mysterious and powerful divine sun made him feel mysterious, but at the same time, he felt a sense of familiarity. Myriad realms' divine sun. There will be 9 of them. New 9 suns will appear once again. Qin Yin touched the 9-sun divine spirit on his wrist and said in his heart, "And I will also cultivate my own 9 sons. Master Qin, the ship in front belongs to my heavenly devil god race's Duke." The Duke himself is still on the ship. He only sent some people to the Sword Sun Grey Hall. The Duke also did not want to come into contact with too many people. They only wanted to see how strong the myriad heaven divine sword is and whose hands it will ultimately fall into. To enter the Sword Sun Divine Hall, one must have an invitation. Chapter 2192. Mo Dutian brought Qin Yun to the peak of the Sword Sun and landed outside the Great Hall. The Sword Sun Great Hall is very huge. It is like a huge island at the peak of the Sword Sun Divine Mountain. The Great Hall has 4 doors, one in the east, south, west, and north. Inside the Sword Sun Great Hall, there are many huge halls. Each of them is as spacious as a plaza. And the Southern Hall is the hall where the strong clans gather. Those who come to the Sword Sun Divine Mountain will be arranged to stay in different halls. For example, the Heavenly Law Divine Domain, Myriad Realms Divine Court, 9 Sun Sects, 9 Yang Divine Palace, and 9 Yang Royal Family. They are not in the Southern Hall. Mo Dutian brought Qin Yun to the Southern Gate. "Master Qin, I'll give you the invitation. You can go in by yourself. I don't want to go in for the time being." Mo Dutian said in a low voice, "Shen Ruoming, that guy should be inside. I don't want to see him." Mo Dutian was defeated by Shen Ruoming before. If they met, Shen Ruoming would definitely spread the news. The Southern Hall is filled with people from various powerful clans. If Shen Ruoming spread the news, Mo Dutian would definitely lose all face. Qin Yun nodded. Mo Dutian is not worried that Qin Yun would be bullied, because for someone like Qin Yun, whoever provoked him would definitely not have a good ending. Furthermore, Mo Dutian is also worried that Qin Yun would mess around inside. Since he was the one who brought Qin Yun in, it would make things difficult for him. Mo Dutian gave the invitation to Qin Yun and watched him smoothly enter the Southern Gate. He slowly walked along a spacious and resplendent corridor. "Master Qin, behind that door should be the Southern Hall," Mo Dutian said. "I won't be going. I'll take my leave first." After Mo Dutian finished speaking, he promptly left. When Mo Dutian fought with Shen Ruoming before, he suffered a crushing defeat because he brought 2 subordinates with him. Those 2 subordinates were not weak, but they were both killed. Thinking back on this matter, Mo Dutian truly regretted it. Of course, what made him even more regretful was that he attacked Qin Yun, almost causing him to lose his life. Qin Yun tidied up his clothes. Today, he is wearing a white inscription master robe. He is dressed very appropriately. Coupled with his handsome appearance, he has the demeanor of a young genius. After passing through the long corridor, Qin Yun arrived in front of the door. Then, he revealed a standard silly smile and slowly opened the door. The moment the door opened, many powerful auras surged out. The people in the Southern Hall were indeed experts from various powerful races. Those who looked young were the young geniuses of the ancient races. Those middle-aged men were all extremely powerful. There were only about 300 of them. In this hall that could accommodate tens of thousands of people, they seemed very sparse. However, when their powerful auras filled the Southern Palace Hall, it caused everyone to feel a type of pressure, as if they were in a crowd. As soon as Qin Yun entered, he saw Shen Ruoming and the Nameless Old Man. Behind the Nameless Old Man was a young man from the 9 Suns Heavenly Clan. Shen Ruoming was alone. He carried a sheathed sword on his back and stayed away from the crowd. When Qin Yun opened the door, everyone present fiercely focused their gazes on the door. This will give people even more pressure. However, Qin Yun still had a silly smile on his face. With a relaxed expression, he turned around and closed the door before walking into the Southern Hall. The Nameless Old Man was very shocked. He didn't know how Qin Yun entered. However, he knew that with someone like Qin Yun here, this place would definitely become even more lively. Shen Ruoming was also very surprised. He remembered that Qin Yun said before that he was not interested in the myriad heaven's divine sword. Furthermore, even if he came, he shouldn't have appeared in the Southern Palace Hall. However, Qin Yun walked into the Southern Palace Hall in a very relaxed manner. Shen Ruoming's reputation was very great. That was why he received a lot of attention. In addition, Qin Yun's aura is very strange. He doesn't seem to be someone from the ancient races. While everyone was paying attention to Qin Yun, they also saw Shen Ruoming walking towards Qin Yun. Shen Ruoming also walked towards Qin Yun and asked, "Where is Mo Dutian? Did you kill him and snatch his invitation before you could enter?" Shen Ruoming's voice was very normal. It was neither loud nor soft. However, everyone present could hear him very clearly. Mo Dutian was the descendant of a duke from the heavenly demon god clan. Furthermore, he had just obtained the title of Viscount not long ago. Yet he was killed by someone. This immediately caused a commotion. Everyone was shocked and started whispering to each other. There were more than 10 young and middle-aged men from the heavenly demon god clan present. After they heard about this matter, they became extremely angry and immediately rushed towards Qin Yun and Shen Ruoming. The nameless old man brought the young man behind him and hid far away. He also believed that Qin Yun had already killed Mo Dutian. Shen Ruoming, don't talk nonsense. Little Mo and I are friends of life and death. He felt that he owed me a favor, so he gave me the invitation card and let me in. Qin Yun's expression is very calm. He said with a smile, "How could I kill little Mo? But you sneak attacked little Mo and killed 2 of his subordinates." A middle-aged man from the heavenly demon god clan coldly looked at Shen Ruoming and Qin Yun and said in a deep voice, "What exactly is going on? Dutian's invitation card is really in your hands." The people from the other powerful races are very curious about this matter. The myriad heaven's divine sword has not come into being yet. They had to wait here and felt very bored. But now that there's a show to watch, they are very interested in watching. "It is indeed in my hands." He lent it to me. After Qin Yun finished speaking, he pointed at Shen Ruoming and said, "Shen Ruoming, did you kill little Mo's 2 subordinates?" Shen Ruoming is startled. He is very surprised by Qin Yun's reaction. He clearly killed Mo Dutian, yet he is still saying that he is Mo Dutian's friend. The middle-aged man from the heavenly demon god clan looked at Shen Ruoming and said, "I am Mo Fanshan. Mo Dutian is my son." Shen Ruoming, answer me truthfully. Did you kill my son's subordinates? "Yes, but I did not sneak attack Mo Dutian. I fought him fair and square." Shen Ruoming said with frown, "Mo Dutian was beaten very miserably by me. In the end, he had no choice but to use a divine talisman to escape through space. But he was intercepted by this person and even captured." Qin Yun coldly groaned and said, "Shen Ruoming, don't talk nonsense with your eyes wide open. Little Mo is very strong, and he also has 2 subordinates. If you did not sneak attack him, how could you force him to escape?" "That's right, my son is very strong, and he also has 2 subordinates. How could he be forced to escape by you?" Mo Fanshan is already standing beside Qin Yun. Looking at his posture, he is on the same side as Qin Yun. "Mo Fanshan, your son's head was pierced by this person and he was captured. Maybe he has already been killed." Shen Ruoming is somewhat anxious and shouted. Qin Yun can see with a glance that this Shen Ruoming is not very experienced. This kind of guy is the easiest to bully. "Uncle Mo, little Mo is not dead. If you don't believe me, you can send people outside to find him. He only lost miserably because he was sneak attacked by Shen Ruoming. That's why he doesn't dare to face Shen Ruoming." Qin Yun promptly explained. Just now, Shen Ruoming also admitted that he killed little Mo's 2 subordinates. "Uncle, did you hear that?" Mo Fanshan waved his hand and let a middle-aged man and 2 young men leave the Southern Palace Hall to find Mo Dutian. Qin Yun said again, "Uncle, I happened to be passing by at that time, so I saved the injured little Mo. Little Mo's head was pierced by Shen Ruoming, and he almost died." Luckily, I am an inscription pill master, so I was able to save little M.O. It is also because of this that little M.O. lent me his invitation card and asked me to come here and join in the fun. And Shun Ruoming harbors hatred towards me, so he slandered me and said that I killed little M.O. He wants to borrow Uncle Mo's hand to get rid of me and silence me. The nameless old man is completely dumbfounded, listening from a distance. If he did not see with his own eyes how Qin Yun pierced Mo Dutian's head, he would definitely believe Qin Yun's words. Even now, the nameless old man almost believes Qin Yun's words. Mo Fanzhan coldly looked at Shun Ruoming and said with sneer, "Divine Heaven Race's guy only has this much ability." Shun Ruoming doesn't know what to say. He only sneered and said, "Mo Fanzhan, just you wait. The people you sent out will never be able to find your son. Maybe your son's corpse has already been destroyed by him." Mo Fanzhan looks like a very forthright, tall, and sturdy middle-aged man. He is wearing a black cloak and has a head full of silvery gray wavy hair. He patted Qin Yun's shoulder and said, "Little friend, when did this happen? Why didn't that brat Duqian tell me about this?" "It happened a while ago," Qin Yun said with foolish smile. "Little Mo's skin is thin. He was afraid of being laughed at by others, so he didn't say anything. I am an honest man." Shun Ruoming saw that I am easy to bully and wanted to slander me, so I can only say this matter. Honest man? From beginning to end, you have not spoken a single word of truth. Shun Ruoming is somewhat angry. He has never seen such a shameless person. He looked at the nameless old man who was hiding far away and shouted, "Nine-son heavenly race old man, you were also at the scene. Come here." The nameless old man said, I was at the scene, but I didn't see anything." "Shun Ruoming, are you trying to threaten that senior to slander me?" Qin Yun pretended to be angry and shouted. At this time, an old man from the Divine Sky race slowly said, "Although this child Ruoming's character is a bit arrogant since he was young, he has never lied. How about this? Let him sign a soul contract." "All right," Mo Fanzhan said. "Mo Fanzhan, I will sign a soul contract now to prove that what I said is true, so that this crafty guy won't run away." Shun Ruoming said, "I did fight with Mo Dutian, but I did not have any intention to kill him. The reason why I told you all what he did to Mo Dutian is to prevent you all from misunderstanding. I killed him." Soon after, Shun Ruoming really signed a soul contract. Everyone present personally witnessed that Shun Ruoming did not suffer any backlash from the soul contract. The Divine Sky race old man chuckled and said, "Mo Fanzhan, what are you still standing there for? It is that guy who pierced your son's head and captured him. Your son's life or death is still unknown." Everyone burst into an uproar. They truly did not expect that Mo Dutian would be tormented so miserably by someone else. "You said that this happened more than 10 days ago, but I just saw my son a few days ago." Mo Fanzhan did not immediately attack. Shun Ruoming is startled because he feels that it is impossible for Qin Yun to release Mo Dutian. It is even more impossible for the two of them to become friends. Chapter 2193. When Mo Dutian came in, Qin Yun promptly sent a sound transmission and roughly explained the situation here. Knowing that Qin Yun splashed so much dirty water on Shun Ruoming, Mo Dutian is surprised and also very happy. This way, even if he loses to Shun Ruoming, he won't be ridiculed. He truly admires Qin Yun in his heart and feels that he has not worshipped him in vain. "Father." After Mo Dutian came in, he promptly arrived beside Mo Fanzhan and said, "I'm fine. No need to worry." Shun Ruoming opened his eyes wide and looked at Mo Dutian and Qin Yun. He immediately thought that Mo Dutian might have already submitted to Qin Yun. Mo Fanzhan said with a smile, "It's good that you're fine." "Oh, that's right. This little brother saved you. Did you just send him an invitation?" "Of course not. Didn't I ask you for a bloodline divine source before? I used it to thank Brother Qin." Mo Dutian said with a smile. He can only bitterly sigh in his heart because he was forced by Qin Yun. Forced by Qin Yun's tyrannical power, he can only do as Qin Yun says. Shinruoming is not stupid. He now understands what is going on. He truly did not expect Qin Yun's methods to be so brilliant. What else do you have to say? Mo Fanzhan looked at Shinruoming and coldly groaned. Divine Sky Race only knows how to sneak attack. The Divine Sky Race old man frowned and said, Everyone saw Ruoming's soul contract just now. What soul contract? This kind of thing should be nothing to your Divine Sky Race, right? Mo Fanzhan said coldly. Fortunately, my son is fine. Otherwise, I would have definitely killed that brat Shen Ruoming. Mo Duqian promptly said, Father, I was injured by him because my skills are inferior. Shen Ruoming is indeed very strong. I wholeheartedly accept my defeat. Father, don't make things difficult for Shen Ruoming. This is my own matter. Wait until my strength increases in the future. I will definitely defeat him. These words were taught to him by Qin Yun. All the middle-aged men present secretly nodded their heads. Mo Duqian's temperament is quite good. Shen Ruoming is extremely angry. He inexplicably took the blame for sneak attack. Qin Yun looked at Shen Ruoming with a smile. If Shen Ruoming did not say anything, he would not have dealt with him like this. It could be said that Shen Ruoming had brought this upon himself. At this moment, a man in a black robe walked over with a few of the people. When these people came over, Qin Yun could already tell that they were from the Chaos race. They had Chaos bloodline in them. Qin Yun was already very familiar with the power of the Chaos Divine Sunday. Furthermore, these people's bloodlines were very strong. Seeing them walking over, Mo Fanzhan said, Guys, what are you doing here? My heavenly demon god race has never provoked your Chaos god race. They didn't provoke us, but this guy is an eyesore. The black gown man has an arrogant expression. He narrowed his eyes and pointed at Qin Yun and said, We are all from powerful races. This guy is not. Shi Jianza, this is a friend of my heavenly demon god race. Mo Fanzhan said, How is our friend an eyesore? Shi Jianza was from the Primal Chaos clan, and his bloodline was strong. He should be a high-class or supreme-class Primal Chaos clan. His strength is also much stronger than the ones Qin Yun met in the Medicine King Association. Shi Jianza made Qin Yun recall the feeling he had when he met the Primal Chaos clan in the Ancient Desolate. Shi Jianza said, His surname should be Qin, right? Then he might be from a Nine-Sun royal race. How can a weak race like the Nine-Sun royal race be qualified to be in this palace hall with us? If his surname is Qin and he has the bloodline of the Nine-Sun royal race, then he must be from the Qin imperial race. Everyone should know that it was the Qin imperial race that allowed the Nine-Sun royal race to be reborn. Many people immediately looked at Qin Yun with hostility in their eyes. Qin Yun is somewhat puzzled. Compared to these powerful races, the Nine-Sun royal race is clearly not very strong. So why do they view them with hostility? Qin Yun said, I am indeed from the Qin imperial race. When everyone heard Qin Yun's words, the hostility in their eyes became even stronger. Mo Fanzhan said, You truly recovered the Nine-Sun royal race's bloodline? Why don't you have Nine-Sun divine marks on your forehead? My situation is rather special. That's why I don't have Nine-Sun divine marks. Qin Yun replied. Shi Jianza said with sneer, Then why don't you get the hell out of this palace hall? Don't think that just because the Myriad Realm's divine sun allowed you to be reborn, you are the strongest race in Divine Desolate. Let me tell you, in our eyes, you are not even fart. Our Nine-Sun royal race is not even fart. But I remember that many of your Primal Chaos race's people were killed by us that day. If we are not fart, then what is your Primal Chaos race? Qin Yun said with a smile. Shi Jianza's face suddenly twitched. He said in cold voice, You dare to mock me? Qin Yun said, I am only stating the facts. Everyone knows how badly you guys from the Chaos race lost that day. Those people are all lowly bastards. They can't represent our entire Primal Chaos god race. Shi Jin's eyes are filled with killing intent. He furiously looked at Qin Yun. Even if you recovered the Nine-Sun royal race's bloodline, in our eyes, you are no different from those idiots. Is that so? Why don't we exchange a few moves? Qin Yun rolled up his sleeves and said with a smile, Whoever loses will scram from here. All right, you asked for it. Shi Jinza clenched his fist. A gray cold power surged out violently. The aura of primal chaos divine power caused many people present to exclaim in admiration. Brother Qin, be careful. Shi Jinza is late-stage great god. He is about to become a heavenly god. His primal chaos bloodline is between high and top quality. Mo Duqian promptly said. Qin Yun took a deep breath and began condensing Xian divine power. After his body overflowed with Xian divine power, everyone present is somewhat surprised. They did not expect that a Xian god cultivator would have such confidence in front of Shen Ruoming. They did not see through Qin Yun's cultivation before. Even Shen Ruoming is somewhat surprised. He did not expect Qin Yun's cultivation to be so low. Take this. Shi Jinza is very confident. He pushed forward with his palm. They want to compete palm-palm. Qin Yun has already condensed his power and pushed forward with his palm. Yuner. In that instant, Ling Yuner released her little nether sun's divine power. Together with Qin Yun's nether sun, they condensed a very strong super gravity and shot out. Qin Yun's palm looks very calm. When it was shot out, the berserk power shook out energy wave ripples and collided with Shi Jinza's palm. Boom! Trembling sound exploded. Berserk primal chaos divine power surged like a gale and blew all around. Qin Yun was sent flying and hit a wall far away. Someone immediately sneered and said, "So what if you recovered the 9-son royal family bloodline? A fool is a fool. No matter what bloodline he has, it is useless." Although Qin Yun was sent flying, he looks like he is completely fine. Shi Jinza's arm is trembling and naturally drooping down. Just now, Qin Yun poured formidable supergravity into Shi Jinza's arm and used mysterious penetration divine ability to enter. Supergravity is the power condensed by Nether Sun. It has formidable melting power and directly melted the bones in Shi Jinza's arm. Shi Jinza saw Qin Yun fly over and became even more shocked. He thought that since his arm was injured, Qin Yun would at least be crippled. But Qin Yun is completely fine. When Qin Yun flew towards Shi Jinza, he used supergravity to suppress Shi Jinza. Fist attack, the aura is like a raging storm. It hit Shi Jinza's nose. It looked like a very casual punch, but it was actually Qin Yun's Heaven Annihilation 9 style, Heaven Shaking style. Shi Jinza's face caved in with a fist print, and he was sent flying. Qin Yun took a light breath. He now roughly understood his own strength. He who has opened 6 Xian divine Dao meridians. The strength of his divine power is comparable to a powerful race's heavenly god. Mo Dutian knew that Qin Yun has 3 bloodlines and knew that Qin Yun is very strong, but he never expected Qin Yun to be strong enough to easily defeat Shi Jinza. Shen Ruoming's expression turned grave. The last time he saw Qin Yun was not this strong. In other words, in the past 10 days, Qin Yun has become a lot stronger. This kind of improvement speed is simply terrifying. The nameless old man is also overwhelmed with shock. He naturally knows that Qin Yun has fused with the heavenly devil god race bloodline. When Qin Yun's 6 meridians divine power burst out, his body felt a slight swelling pain. It can be seen how strong his divine power is. The hundreds of powerful race members present are all shocked into silence. That kind of divine power was only Xian divine power because it had a very clear aura of Dao power. Just this level of divine power is actually so strong. Just what is the background of this person? This is what many powerful race members are thinking. You lost. Are you going to scram, or do I have to make you scram? Qin Yun walked towards Shi Jinza. Don't be impudent. A middle-aged man from the primal chaos race shouted angrily. At this moment, an old man walked in. Seeing that old man, the middle-aged man from the primal chaos race said, "Sword Son Great Elder, that kid is causing trouble here. Quickly chase him out." Sword Son Great Elder glanced at Qin Yun, then casually released a chain and tied Qin Yun up. He said, "Everyone, Please follow me to the middle palace hall. Our Grand Elder has been attacked, and the attacker is very strong. We need everyone's help to maintain order. Qin Yun's heart jumped. The attacker must be Lu Yu, Shu Yin, and Bing Xing. Bring this guy along. I heard that there's a blood groove in the middle palace hall that is used to sacrifice blood to the sword. Let's use his blood to sacrifice to the sword first. The middle-aged man from the primal chaos race said coldly. Qin Yun can easily break free from the chains, but when he heard that he has to go to the middle palace hall to meet Xiang Yang Hong and the others, he temporarily did not break free. Chapter 2194. Shi Jin's face has caved in. He is now lying on the ground and receiving treatment. Sword Sun Great Elder tied Qin Yun up with a chain and walked over. He saw that Shi Jin's face is caved in. He is startled and furiously shouted at Qin Yun. You bastard! You dare cause trouble in Sword Sun Palace Hall. I can only kill you and offer your blood to the sword. He is not causing trouble. The ones causing trouble are from Primal Chaos race. The nameless old man is also worried about Qin Yun. He promptly stood up and said, Primal Chaos race middle-aged man said, we should quickly go to the palace hall and kill this guy. All right, we'll go now. Sword Sun Great Elder's expression is very fierce and sinister. He fiercely glared at Qin Yun, then took out a long whip and vigorously whipped Qin Yun's face. Ha! The whip heavily landed on Qin Yun's face and let out a burst of explosive sound. Qin Yun used heavenly strong Dao technique to make his body very firm. Therefore, when the whip hit his face, it was not very painful. However, he secretly remembered this Sword Sun Grand Elder. What are you looking at? Lowly bastard, quickly close your eyes. You're not qualified to look at me like this. Sword Sun Great Elder furiously shouted when he saw Qin Yun staring at him. Then he very quickly whipped Qin Yun's face dozens of times. Qin Yun is secretly using heavenly strong Dao technique and heavenly might tyrant body, so he is not injured. But he is very angry. He gritted his teeth and endured. Mo Duqian and the nameless old man know that Qin Yun is very strong, but now they are looking at Sword Sun Great Elder as if he is a dead person. At this time, Shi Jinza also recovered. His sunken face has been flattened by a lot, but it is still red and swollen. Shi Jinza saw that Qin Yun is tied up. He furiously shouted, rushed over, and started punching and kicking Qin Yun. Nine-son royal family lowly bastard. You spoke rudely to me and even attacked me so heavily. I will beat you to death. Shi Jinza crazily attacked Qin Yun. Everyone can see that Qin Yun is using a very strong power to protect his body. Therefore, when Shi Jinza is crazily beating Qin Yun is not injured at all. This fellow's strength isn't bad. If we use his blood as a sacrifice to the sword, the effects should be quite good. The middle-aged man from the Primal Chaos tribe roared with laughter. We should need a lot of powerful blood to sacrifice to the sword. Are you ready? Asked the old man from the Divine Star race. Nine Sons Royal Tribe's blood is enough. Coincidentally, a group of Nine Sons Royal Tribe members have arrived. I will capture them and kill them in the Middle Palace Hall. Sword Sun Great Elder laughed loudly and said, Come, let's go to the Middle Palace Hall. Qin Yun's heart jolted. The Nine Yang royal family was actually invited here to be used as a sacrifice to the sword. Sword Sun Great Elder pulled a chain and brought Qin Yun to the Middle Palace Hall. He said with smile, There are also a few people from Nine Yang Divine Palace. Those Sword Hall Elder and Dragon Hall Elder have pretty good strength. They are now in the Middle Palace Hall and have been captured by us. If there are only a few of them, it shouldn't be enough, right? The elder from the Primal Chaos tribe asked. Of course it's not enough. That's why we captured quite a few fellows from the Nine Sons royal family and sealed them in the middle hall. The Sword Sun Grand Elder seemed to be very happy as he laughed heartily. Oh, that's right. You said that your Grand Elder was attacked? Who had such guts? The middle-aged man from the Divine Star race asked. Speaking of this matter, Sword Sun Great Elder became very angry. He groaned and said, It's those bitches from Divine Moon World's Guanghan Palace. One of them is a killing god. Those two bitches are very strong, but they did not succeed. Oh, they ran away? Shi Jianzi said with smile. I heard that the women of Guanghan Palace are very good. They're still in the middle palace hall. We don't dare to capture them because they have Divine Moon Race behind them. Moreover, Divine Martial Judge is also protecting them. Sword Sun Great Elder said in low voice. At this time, everyone looked at a somewhat fat middle-aged woman. She has a head full of silver hair. Her face is a bit round. Her face always has a smile on it. She is wearing a very simple white dress. With one look, it is clear that she is from Divine Moon Race. Yuli Yuan, what is the meaning of your Divine Moon Race? He actually wants to kill the Grand Elder. The middle-aged man from the Chaotic Race said coldly. The Supreme Elder, the Sword Sun God Mountain, is the sword slave of the myriad realms' divine Sunday. Only he can make the myriad heavens' divine sword appear. In the future, he can still use the Sword Sun God Mountain to forge more. What a powerful divine sword. At this moment, Qin Yun also understood why the Grand Elder's position was so high. So it was because of this reason. This made him even more determined to eliminate the Grand Elder. The Nether Sex Yuli Yuan middle-aged woman still has a smile on her face as she said, I also don't know. Isn't the Grand Elder still alive? It's good that you're not dead. The Guanghan Palace is in the Divine Moon World, and your Divine Moon Race is also in the Divine Moon World, right? The middle-aged Primal Chaos said, Then you have to take care of those women. Our Divine Moon clan is not in the Divine Moon World, and we do not have the qualifications to manage the Guanghan Palace. Yuli Yuan said, Also, let me tell you, don't underestimate the Guanghan Palace. The Sword Sun Grand Elder sneered. What is the Moon Palace? They came from the lower realms, and their luck is good. That's why they are inside the heaven's divine moon. Not long ago, a sword cultivator girl was robbed of her sun and moon twin dragon swords by our sect master. What can they do to us? This caused Qin Yin to feel extremely furious in his heart. So the Sword Sun Divine Mountain knew about this matter, but they did not care. Aren't they here to take revenge now? Yuli Yuan faintly smiled. Don't look down on us women's determination to take revenge, the middle-aged man from the Divine Star Race said with smile. Give us those two women who came to take revenge. Qin Yun coldly looked at the middle-aged man. Another group of people has been added to the list of people he wants to kill. I also want one. Shi Jianzi laughed loudly. The Sword Sun Grand Elder shook his head and said, Don't even think about it. They are protected by the Divine Judge. Let's talk about it after you pass the trial of the Divine Judge. Speaking of a Divine Judge, everyone shut up. It seems like the Divine Judge has some authority. While everyone is chatting and laughing, they arrived at the entrance of the Middle Palace Hall. The Sword Sun Grand Elder is trying to open the door. He does not have the authority to do so. The door of the Middle Palace Hall can only be opened by the Grand Elder. Qin Yun is suppressing a power in his heart. He looked at the door. After entering, it won't be long before he explodes with his strongest power. Many of these people from the powerful ancient races were on Qin Yun's death list, especially Shi Jianzi and the middle-aged man from the Divine Star Race. Shen Ruoming quietly arrived behind the nameless old man and transmitted his voice to him. That guy is not that easy to catch. He deliberately got caught to cause trouble in the Middle Palace Hall. The nameless old man also has the same thought and replied, It's good that you know, don't talk too much. You are not stupid. You should know how powerful that brat is. Just don't let him affect me getting the myriad heaven divine sword. Shen Ruoming transmitted his voice. He is not interested in the myriad heaven divine sword. The nameless old man seems to have already seen through Qin Yun's purpose in coming to the Sword Sun Divine Mountain. It is to take revenge. The nameless old man knows that Qin Yun was once the king of gods and also the Nine Sun Palace king. Furthermore, Qin Yun is now considered a member of the Nine Sun royal family's Qin family. And the people of the Nine Sun royal family and the Nine Sun Divine Palace were captured to be sacrificed to the sword. In addition, Qin Yun and the Sword Sun Divine Mountain have long had enmity. Therefore, after Qin Yun entered the Middle Palace Hall, he will definitely fight. Because of this, The nameless old man even drove away the young man he brought, making him stay away from this whirlpool. The door of the middle palace hall opened, and a very strong sword aura rushed out from inside. The middle palace hall is located in the middle of the Sword Sun Great Hall. It is very spacious. There are already thousands of people here, but it is not crowded at all. It still looks very spacious. In the middle of the middle palace hall, there's a 10-meter wide round lava pool. On top of the lava pool, there's a very large golden red fireball floating. It looks like a small Myriad Realms Divine Sunday. The Myriad Heaven Divine Sword is inside, and beside the lava pool, there are hundreds of people sealed inside a barrier. They are all from the Nine Sun Royal Family. Nine Sun Royal Family, Shao Family, Long Family, Qin Family, Qi Family, Yuan Family, and so on. There are people from all 9 great clans. Many of them are powerful heavenly god elders. There are also a few sacred gods. Granny Qianghua, Medicine King Qin, Fire King Qin, and others are also here. This made Qin Yun even more furious. He slightly clenched his fists. There are people from various great powers in the Middle Palace Hall, Myriad Realms Divine Court, Heavenly Law Divine Domain, Primal Chaos Race, Heaven Creation Divine Palace, Nine Sun Sects, and so on. Qin Yun looked at the Myriad Realms Divine Court and saw Xia Wufeng standing beside the Divine Judge. Xia Wufeng also saw Qin Yun. When he saw Qin Yun, he was very shocked, but his expression is very calm. He also knows that a great battle is about to erupt. He is also prepared to help Qin Yun. Beside the Divine Judge, there are Bing Xing, Xian Rujing, Luiyue Shuyan, Star God, and Yushi. When Qin Yun came in, he immediately released his formidable mental power to transmit sound transmission to them, telling them to calm down first. Soon after, Qin Yun also received sound transmission from Luiyue Shuyan and Bing Xing. They said that they attacked Grand Elder Xiang Yanghong earlier, but failed. The main reason is that Xiang Yanghong's strength is not weak, and there are many experts from powerful races here, such as Divine Sword Race, Primal Chaos Race, and Divine Star Race. They all have people here to protect Xiang Yanghong. In addition, the Divine Judge is also maintaining order. The Divine Judge's expression is very unsightly because he wants to sacrifice people to the sword, and the people he wants to kill are all from the Nine Sun Royal Family. Qin Yun looked at the Heavenly Law Divine Domain and indeed saw Thunder God's figure. His original body is the same as his clone, but his original body is even more powerful and has obtained the Primal Chaos Race's powerful bloodline inheritance. There are many enemies here, but Qin Yun is not afraid at all. His heart is currently extremely calm. He also doesn't know if it is because of those 10 powerful divine, profound Tao images that gave him incomparable confidence. After the great Elder of Sword Sun came in, he said with smile, "We caught another guy from the Nine Sun Royal Family. This guy is quite strong. He is a good material for the sword sacrifice." Granny Qianghua, Medicine King Qin, Sword Hall Elder, and Dragon Hall Elder are also shocked when they saw Qin Yun. Qin Yun transmitted his voice to them, telling them to calm down and saying that he will save them. Chapter 2195. Xiang Yanghong's face is full of wrinkles, and he looks very old. He has a head full of sparse white hair that looks like it is about to fall off. However, he looks very spirited. His old eyes are filled with treachery. When he saw the group of powerful ancient race people coming over, he promptly greeted them with a smile. His appearance is also very humble. Grand Elder, this guy snuck into the Southern Palace Hall to cause trouble. He is from Nine Sun Royal Family and has some strength. His blood should be used as a sacrifice, right? Sword Sun Great Elder said. This guy, why does he look so familiar? Xiang Yanghong stared at Qin Yun and said doubtfully, Xiang Yanghong, this guy beat up my Primal Chaos Race's people. You have to take special care of him. Primal Chaos Race middle-aged man said. Xiang Yanghong promptly replied with smile, Of course, of course. I will make this brat suffer. Shi Jinzi said, Elder Xiang, how about this? Hand this guy over to me. I want to properly teach him a lesson. No problem. I will hand him over to you after his blood is drained. Xian Yanghong said with smile. Just as Qin Yin was about to be escorted to the barrier, Qin Yin suddenly said, Grand Elder, I have a gift for you. Gift? What gift do you have? Xian Yanghong feels that Qin Yin is very familiar, but he cannot remember who he is. It's Xiang Yunjian's very precious item. Qin Yin said again. This is a very generous gift. Everyone is very curious as to what kind of gift this person wants to give to Xiang Yanghong. Xiang Junjian is the sect master of Sword Sun Divine Mountain. He is also Xiang Yanghong's son, but he has not appeared here in the last few days. Hearing Qin Yun's words, Sword Hall Elder and Dragon Palace Elder seem to know what Qin Yun wants to give. Xiang Junjian is very precious. This bastard went to 9 Sun Divine Palace and has not returned. I wonder where he died. Quickly take it out. Xiang Yanghong cursed a few times. He also feels that it is very strange that Qin Yun has Xiang Yunjian's item. Although Qin Yun is tied up with a thought, he took out a square box. Seeing that box, Dragon Palace Elder and Sword Hall Elder's hearts suddenly jumped. Because Qin Yun asked them for Xiang Yunjian's head before, and he did not say what he wanted it for. Shen Ruoming and the nameless old man guessed that there must be something sinister in that box. Especially Shen Ruoming. He had experienced the methods of this honest man. Mo Dutian retreated slightly and stood behind his father because he had a bad premonition. Bing Xing, Lu Yu, Shu Yin, and the others are also prepared to fight at any time. Xia Wufeng's eyes were like swords as he scanned the surroundings. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became somewhat oppressive. Everyone felt it, because they all felt that there was something strange about the box. Xiang Yanghong laughed and said, Everyone, don't worry. This old man has lived for several tens of thousands of years at any rate. How can I possibly be tricked by this kind of little trick? As he spoke, he opened the box and poured out the contents. With a plop, heads fell to the ground. The human head's eyes were wide open. Before it died, its eyes were filled with fear and shock. Most of the people present could recognize the face of this head. This was Xiang Junjian's head. Sword Sun God Mountain's sect Master Xiang Junjian has not appeared for many days. Now he has finally appeared, but his head has arrived. When Xiang Yanghong saw Xiang Junjian's head, he immediately retreated a few steps and looked at Qin Yun with a startled and angry expression. Clang, clang, clang. Everyone present suddenly heard the sound of many swords being unsheathed. Sword Sun God Mountain's experts all unsheathed their swords. The people from the ancient races hurriedly retreated to the side because this had nothing to do with them. They were just surprised that Xiang Junjian had been killed just like that. The nameless old man, Shen Ruoming and Mo Dutian glanced at each other. Although they guessed wrong about the contents of the box, the result is even more unexpected. Judging from the head, Xiang Junjian was killed a long time ago. What made them admire the most is that Qin Yun dared to deliver the head in this kind of situation. Not only them, everyone present secretly sighed at Qin Yun's courage. Divine Judge's pupils immediately shrank because he can already tell that Qin Yun is that Qin Fei. He cursed in his heart, It's this little demon again. You killed Xiang Junjian? Xiang Yanghong pointed at Qin Yun's hand, and an origin sword suddenly appeared. Formidable sword power swept through the entire hall like a gale. Sword Sun Great Elder and other experts are just watching from the side. They did not make a move. Because this matter must be handled by Xiang Yanghong. Qin Yun said with smile, You should be grateful that I let him die a happy death, and that I let you father and son meet one last time. Tell me, isn't this a generous gift? Impudent. Xiang Yanghong furiously shouted and thrust his sword forward. Bang! Qin Yun's body immediately exploded with golden light. A sun heavenly shield appeared on his wrist and blocked Xiang Yanghong's powerful thrust. Everyone burst into an uproar. They all thought that Qin Yun was bound by chains. They did not expect that he would casually struggle free from the chains. Previously, Sword Sun Great Elder and Shi Jinza both beat him up, but he did not struggle free. Instead, he endured patiently just to enter the hall and perform this scene. Xiang Yang Hong is a very powerful sacred god. He used such formidable power to stab his sword, but it was actually blocked by a Xian god. All the people from the ancient races present are also extremely shocked, because they all know that Xiang Yang Hong is the sword slave of the myriad realm's divine son, and he is also fused with the bloodline of a powerful race. But even so, he is still unable to penetrate the defense of a Xian god. Because Qin Yun killed Xiang Yang Hong's son, they are fighting here. It could be considered a personal grudge. The divine judge did not make a move. What made the divine judge puzzled is that last time Qin Yun was at the Medicine King Guild, he was not that powerful. If Qin Yun had this kind of strength during the Medicine King Guild, he might have killed Thunder God. Supreme Elder, let me do it. Sword Sun Great Elder suddenly said, that guy has some ability. Let me test his strength first. Just now, Xiang Yang Hong could indeed feel how terrifying Qin Yun's defense was. His powerful attack did not even harm a hair on the opponent's body. All right, Xiang Yang Hong said in a deep voice. Remember, don't kill him, capture him, and torture him to death. Sword Sun Great Elder's strength is much weaker than Xiang Yang Hong's, but he is still a sacred god. No matter what, the sacred god is invincible against the Xian god. Shi Jianzi said with a sneer, that guy only has a very powerful defensive divine tool. That kind of defensive divine tool consumes a lot of energy. It can't be used more than a few times. Shi Jianzi hated Qin Yun to death because his nose was smashed and his entire face was caved in. If not for the precious medicinal ingredients he used, he would definitely look very ugly right now. Not only Shi Jianzi thought this way, even the Sword Sun Great Elder thought the same. Therefore, he planned to consume the power of Qin Yun's defensive magic treasure. You brat, you must have come with the intention to die. Sword Sun Great Elder released his origin sword and said, my Sword Sun Divine Mountain is a righteous sect, but you are so ruthless towards our sect's sect master. Quickly tell me, did someone order you to do this? Righteous sect? Your Sword Sun Divine Mountain likes to steal other people's origin swords the most, Qin Yun said coldly. Furthermore, you deliberately stole a sword cultivator's origin sword. Is this also a righteous sect? Xia Wufeng has already heard of this before. Now that he heard Qin Yun's words, he immediately said angrily, Sword Sun Divine Mountain, have you ever done such a thing? Sword God, don't listen to his nonsense. Xiang Yang Hong promptly said, we have never done such a despicable thing. Shen Ruoming suddenly said, when I came here earlier, I heard Sword Sun Great Elder say that they once stole the Sun and Moon twin dragon swords of a sword cultivator girl from the Guanghan Palace. He said himself. I also heard about it. The nameless old man said. He indeed said it. Mo Fans Han said. Yes, Sword Sun Great Elder said it. Mo Dutian said. I can testify. Divine Moon Races Yu Li Yuan also replied. Xiang Yang Hong is very shocked. He did not expect that someone from an ancient race would stand up. He also cursed Sword Sun Great Elder in his heart for being an idiot. Qin Yun said, the Sun and Moon twin dragon swords belong to Jian Ruyan. Jian Ruyan is my friend. While I was in the Nanyang Divine Palace, I saw Xiang Junjian take it out. So I became very angry and killed him on the spot. From his tone, it seems like killing Xiang Junjian was very easy. This is even more shocking. Xia Wufeng now understands why Bing Xing and Lui Weishuyan attacked Xiang Yang Hong before. Sword Sun Divine Mountain stole a sword cultivator's origin sword. Moreover, they deliberately stole it. This is very serious. It is like an evil sect. What is even more ironic is that just now, they claim to be a righteous sect. Sword Sun Great Elder furiously shouted, everyone, don't believe his words. Bastard, go die. He furiously rushed over and stabbed towards Qin Yun's head. Qin Yun is standing there motionless. It looks like his body is full of flaws. However, the floating cloud staff in his hand is filled with very strong 6-vein divine power, causing the floating cloud staff to unceasingly tremble from the impact. Sword Sun Great Elder's sword stabbed straight towards Qin Yun's forehead. When the sword tip is about an inch away from Qin Yun's forehead, it suddenly stopped. That is because Sword Sun Great Elder has been frozen by Qin Yun's supergravity. Die! The floating cloud staff in Qin Yun's hand violently roared. It vibrated like an explosion. Layer upon layer of ferocious aura shook all around. The staff swept towards Sword Sun Great Elder's waist with incomparably ferocious power. Boom! An explosive sound spread out. Sword Sun Great Elder's upper body was directly torn apart by the berserk power, leaving behind only his head and legs. The rest of his body shattered, ignited in flames, turned into flying ash, and rushed in all directions along with the energy wave. Qin Yun's gaze is deep and cold. He is carrying formidable and threatening arrogant potential as he looked at Xiang Yanghong. Chapter 2196. Looks like you still remember me. The floating cloud rod in Qin Yun's hand smashed towards Xiang Yanghong with a monstrous might, accompanied by intense flames and lightning. Xiang Yanghong suddenly regained his senses and quickly summoned a large blue umbrella to block in front of him. When the long rod smashed into the large blue umbrella, Qin Yun was sent flying by a strong shockwave. Xiang Yanghong's large umbrella cracked from the impact, and he flew backwards. Finally, he leaned against a wall and stopped. Xiang Yanghong is extremely shocked. Others might not know about the Nine Suns heaven-raising pagoda, but he does. That is because the residence of the King of Gods was a very powerful weapon. Later on, it was tempered by the Nine Suns and became extremely sturdy. Only a few people back then had heard of the Nine Suns heaven-raising pagoda. Xiang Yanghong gripped his origin sword tightly, his eyes filled with fear as he looked at Qin Yun. Back then, Qin Yun was the sect master of one of the Nine Suns sects. He was besieged and destroyed by the other 8 Nine Suns sects. Xiang Yanghong also participated in the siege, so his memory of Qin Yun's strength is still fresh in his mind. In addition, Qin Yun became the King of Gods and was once again besieged by many people. Xiang Yanghong and Xiang Junjian were both involved. A few years ago, they heard about the rebirth of the King of Pantheon. They also knew that the King of Pantheon had another identity, which was the Nine-Yang Palace King, named Qin Yun. He had seized the Sun altar and defeated Xie Yang. Later on, the Heavenly Law Divine Realm was very sure that Qin Yun could not come to the God-level space. But now, Qin Yun appeared here. Xiang Yanghong suddenly recalled many things in his mind. He quickly calmed down and knew that his fear of the person in front of him is because of the past. And now, the person in front of him is no longer the powerful king of gods for back then. Instead, he is reincarnated. His cultivation is only at the Xian God realm. The reason why he is so powerful is because he has some powerful equipment. Elder Xiang, do you need help? The middle-aged man from the Primal Chaos race asked. No need, I can deal with him. After Xiang Yanghong calmed down, he rushed toward Qin Yun. The sword in his hand is very stable, exuding a threatening sword aura. When Qin Yun saw Xiang Yanghong coming over, he sneered and said, Xiang Yanghong, after so many years, you are still so lame. It's time to settle the score of the past. This time, I'll end you once and for all. Xiang Yanghong burst out laughing confidently. You're asking for it. Many of the people present were puzzled. This was especially so for those from the primordial races. This was because they could tell that Qin Yun and Xiang Yanghong knew each other. Furthermore, there was a deep hatred between them. As Xiang Yangdao laughed, he had already stabbed out hundreds of times. Countless sword beams transformed into swords of light that swept towards Qin Yun like a gust of wind. The experts in the surroundings hurriedly released a barrier to prevent the central palace from being destroyed during the battle. Qin Yun opened his sun heavenly shield. He blocked that powerful sword chi. Then he used his sacred pupil of light to rush over and swung his staff at Xiang Yanghong. The violent divine power was like a real tsunami, crashing into the barrier and creating loud explosions. A single profound god had such a powerful divine power, causing all the experts present to be moved. Even Xian Rujing and Bing Xing, who are familiar with Qin Yun, cannot help but feel astonished. That is because they believe that Qin Yun's cultivation is not high and is weaker than theirs. But now it seems like Qin Yun's strength is not as weak as they imagined. Those elders from the primordial races are all watching with grave expression. They all believe that only the primordial races are the strongest races in the divine desolate. They believe that with low cultivation, they could defeat those idiots with high cultivation. However, this nine-son royal family member is only a profound god, yet he is able to fight evenly with Xiang Yang Hong, who possesses a powerful race's bloodline. If his cultivation reached great god or heavenly god realm, his divine power would be extremely dreadful. Everyone present knows that Xiang Yang Hong is a sacred god. Moreover, he is not an ordinary sacred god. Deity President's expression is grave. He is pondering over something. Just now, he heard Xiang Yang Hong mention the nine-sun heaven holding pagoda. As a deity president, he is also from the heavenly creation divine palace, so he is quite familiar with this pagoda. Qin Yun and Xiang Yang Hong are fighting very intensely. Every time formidable divine power erupts, it causes people's heart to jump and flesh to jump. Even the people from the primordial races are secretly amazed by Qin Yun's formidable divine power. At this time, an old man from the heavenly creation divine palace said in a low voice, that young man used 6 types of profound God power and perfectly fused them together. This person is a person with many Tao images, but even so, he shouldn't have such formidable divine power. An old man from the divine inscription palace said with a frown, Ancient alchemy divine sect master Gu Tianyue is also here. He looked at Deity President and said, Deity President, that guy from the Sword Sun, Divine Mountain stole someone else's origin sword. Are you just going to let it go like this? Of course I will care. I will investigate the situation clearly and then severely punish them. Deity President is still staring at Qin Yun. He began to suspect that Qin Yun might be the king of God from back then. Xiang Yang Hong is also very strong. After all, he has lived for so long. Furthermore, he has become the sword slave of the myriad world's divine sun and obtained the bloodline of a powerful race. Qin Yun is currently under great pressure because Xiang Yang Hong is not as weak as he imagined. If Xiang Yang Hong did not obtain the bloodline of a strong race, he would definitely be easy to deal with. The bloodline of a strong race could increase Xiang Yang Hong's strength by several times. Ha! Let's see how long you can last. Xiang Yang Hong laughed and said, Whether it's back then or today, you will die in my hands. Bing Xing and the others, as well as Xie Wufeng, are all prepared to attack. If they were to make a move, the ancient race would also make a move. This place would be in chaos, and with their strength, it would be very difficult to deal with the ancient race. They knew that Qin Yun is very strong, but they could also tell that Qin Yun does not have the strength to kill Xiang Yang Hong. The reason why Qin Yun was able to hold on until now was mainly because of the powerful defense of the Sun Sky Shield. Otherwise, he would have been torn apart by the terrifying sword energy. The Sun Sky Shield is very powerful, but after using it many times in a row, he would need a rest for a period of time. He could not use it too frequently. If this continued, Qin Yun would lose. Xiang Yang Hong's sword energy is like wind and thunder, tyrannical and chaotic as it landed on Qin Yun's body. At this moment, the defensive power of the Sun Sky Shield weakened a lot, causing a sword energy to penetrate the energy-formed Sun Sky Shield and land on Qin Yun's body. Qin Yun's arm was cut by the sharp and powerful sword energy, leaving a bloody mark. Seeing the blood on his arm, the elders of the ancient race immediately sucked in a deep breath of cold air and let out a burst of exclamations. It's purple blood. That guy has purple blood? Could it be the purple blood of the nine-son royal family? The middle-aged man from the primal chaos race shouted with fanaticism in his eyes. He's mine. The middle-aged man from the primal chaos race directly rushed over and saw a translucent gray bell suddenly descend. When it landed, everyone on the ground was enveloped by a strong pressure, making it difficult for them to move. Wong. The bell rang, and Qin Yun was enveloped by a 20-meter wide bell. "He's mine." The middle-aged man from the primal chaos race laughed loudly. "TCH, this guy is really fast. I was a step slower." The middle-aged man from the divine star race said, in displeasure. Xiang Yang Hong is somewhat astonished. He looked at the large bell and praised, "Marquis Shi, what is this thing? So awesome." He did not expect that Qin Yun would be trapped inside the large bell. He promptly gave Shi and the others a look, telling them not to make a move first, because making a move in this kind of situation is completely useless. That Marquis Shi should be Shi Jian's father. He is actually a Marquis from the primal chaos race. Among the ancient race experts present, the highest rank is Marquis. Those dukes and kings are waiting outside for the result. "Marquis," she said with smile, "this is the primal chaos heavenly bell. It is formed from a primal chaos divine Sunday. Even our dukes won't be able to escape after being sealed inside." Shen Ruoming shook his head and sighed. He said, "If this guy had obediently endured, he wouldn't have been captured. He brought this upon himself. I really did not expect that he would have purple blood." Wu Ming said, in surprise. Xiang Yang Hong originally thought that he would be able to kill Qin Yun, but he did not expect such an accident to occur. He looked at Qin Yun inside the primal chaos heavenly bell and said, "Marquis Shi, what is the use of that guy's purple blood? Some are innately awakened, and some are formed after birth. But no matter what, it is a great tonic." Marquis Shi laughed loudly and said, "Elder Xiang, this guy has a grudge with you. I will help you capture him now. Then he will be mine. Don't steal from me." Qin Yun is resting inside the primal chaos heavenly bell. Not only does he need a rest, the nine-sun divine soul also needs to rest. Only in this way can the sun heavenly shield be in its best condition. Although he is sealed, Qin Yun is incomparably calm. He now has a certain understanding of Xiang Yang Hong's strength and is also clear about his situation. The heavenly devil purple blood that he cultivated is an incomparably precious tonic for the elders of other races. Qin Yun has been waiting for an excellent opportunity to kill Xiang Yang Hong in one go, because after killing Xiang Yang Hong, he will definitely be besieged. Therefore, he has to keep a backup plan and make a thorough plan. The appearance of the primal chaos heavenly bell is truly unexpected. Otherwise, he would have followed the original plan and killed Xiang Yang Hong, then killed a group of people and finally retreated. Xiang Yang Hong looked at Qin Yun inside the primal chaos heavenly bell and laughed loudly. "Marquis Shi, you might not know who this guy is, but I know that he is the king of gods in the divine desolate land. Moreover, he is the most famous nine-sun palace king in the early stage of the nine-sun heavenly domain. King of gods, nine-sun palace king." This immediately shook the entire audience, especially the people of Nine-Sun royal family in Nine-Sun Palace. Granny Qianghua and Qin Huang already knew that Qin Yun is not simple, but they never expected him to be such an existence. Dragon Hall Elder and Sword Hall Elder are even more shocked. They are very familiar with Nine-Sun Palace King. He is someone they worship. Thunder God laughed loudly and said, "So what? Nine-Sun Palace King? Nine-Sun Palace has already declined. King of Gods? Who recognizes him as the King of Gods now?" Xiang Yang Hong sneered. "I'm afraid this guy will die again. The one who will die is you." Chapter 2197. Xia Wufeng's sudden attack caused many people to be surprised, especially Xiang Yang Hong. He sensed Xia Wufeng's dreadful sword aura in an instant. They are both sword users and sword cultivators, so Xiang Yang Hong is very clear about how formidable Xia Wufeng's sword aura is. He also knows that although Xia Wufeng looks young, his sword Dao attainment is very profound. Xia Wufeng's attack is not because he wants to help Qin Yun, but because Sword Sun God Mountain is killing and robbing sword cultivators' origin swords. He is Sword God. He has enough reason to attack. Scram! Xia Wufeng looked at the divine sword race youth and said in cold voice. Their swords clashed against each other at this moment. Sword God of Myriad Realms Divine Court. I heard your sword Dao cultivation is very high. I have long wanted to exchange pointers with you. The divine sword race youth said with arrogant smile. I am Mu Jianchao from the divine sword race. Although Xiao Wufeng only has one arm, no one dares to look down on him. I have no interest in fighting you. Xiao Wufeng looked at Xiang Yanghong and said sternly, the sword sun God Mountain stole a sword cultivator's natal sword. Such a heartless act makes them evil cultivators. I have the responsibility to eradicate the evil cultivators from the sword sun God Mountain. Xiao Wufeng fought to stall for time for Qin Yun because he knows that Qin Yun must have a way to escape. Xiang Yanghong promptly said, even if our sword sun God Mountain's disciples did this kind of behavior, it has nothing to do with our sword sun God Mountain. Xiang Junjian and Great Elder Sword Sun have already been killed. They receive their due punishment. You also have a share. Xiao Wufeng shouted. Mu Jianchao yelled. Sword God. Xiang Yanghong is Myriad Realm's divine sun's sword slave. Without him, Myriad Heaven Divine Sword could not come into being. Xiao Wufeng said with sneer. Only mediocre people like you care so much about Myriad Heaven Divine Sword. Mu Jianchao very much wants to compete with Xiao Wufeng because everyone knows that Sword God's strength is unfathomable. Xiang Yanghong said to Divine Judge, Divine Judge, quickly stop that guy. Don't let him continue causing trouble. Thunder God said with sneer, Divine Judge, I heard that you are very partial to Sword God, right? Thunder God is very worried that Qin Yun will run out. He betrayed Qin Yun back then, and Qin Yun has already begun to take revenge on him. It must be known that Thunder God was previously insulted by Qin Yun, causing his avatar to be placed under house arrest by the Divine Preceptor. Also, his subordinates were targeted by Qin Yun, and then all of them mysteriously disappeared. It was obvious that Qin Yun was secretly behind this. The Divine Judge was in a difficult position, but he still had to ensure absolute fairness. He shouted, Wufeng, step down first. I will definitely give you a satisfactory explanation. Marquis Shi of the Chaos Race shouted, if you don't retreat now, I don't care what god you are, I will kill you all the same. Don't delay the birth of the Myriad Heaven's sword. Xiao Wufeng gripped his natal divine sword tightly and looked at Mu Jianchao, who was facing him. What? You want to fight me? Marquis Shi sneered and said, bring it on. The god judge took a step out. In his hands was a large banner. His entire body shone with resplendent divine light as he stood in front of Xiao Wufeng. When a Myriad Heaven's divine punishment banner appeared, the elders of the ancient races all revealed expressions of alarm. They are rather afraid of the Myriad Heaven's divine punishment banner. You want to make the Myriad Heaven's divine sword come into being, but you want to use the blood of my clansmen as a sacrifice to the sword. I will make you pay the price. Qin Yun said coldly. Marquis Shi arrived beside the primal Chaos Heaven Bell and said with sneer, don't be arrogant, just obediently stay inside. Don't worry, I won't use your blood as a sacrifice to the sword. Your purple blood is very precious. I will take good care of you. Your blood is my wine, and you, from today onwards, will be my wine pot. Palace King, don't worry about us. You must have a way to escape. Go. The Dragon Palace Elder shouted. Palace King, the revival of the 9 Yang Divine Palace depends on you. The Sword Hall Elder also shouted. They all approve of Qin Yun as the 9 Yang Palace King. The Divine Judge said, with me here, no one can kill the people of the 9 Yang royal family. Qin Yun said, then why don't you stop them from releasing blood? I will stop them. As long as I am here, I will not allow them to use the people of the 9 Yang royal family as a sacrifice to the sword. A middle-aged man from the Divine Star race laughed loudly and said, Divine Judge, don't think that just because you have a broken flag, we are afraid of you. As he laughed, he waved his hand and released a large ball of light beads. These light beads are like resplendent stars. There are a total of 36 of them. They surrounded the Divine Judge and Xiao Wufeng. In the blink of an eye, the Divine Judge and Xiao Wufeng have been sealed inside a barrier. The divine judge immediately became furious. He waved the myriad heavens divine punishment flag and released formidable power, causing the entire sword sun, divine mountain to tremble. Xiang Yanghong, quickly begin. My great formation can't hold for long. The middle-aged man from the divine star race promptly shouted. Xiang Yanghong looked at the furious divine judge and then rushed towards Qin Huang and the others. 9 Yang royal family people have been captured, a total of 300 people. All of them have pretty good bloodline. Qin Yun originally thought that the divine judge would be of some use here, but now he has been sealed. This means that the blood of the 9 Yang royal family people will be sacrificed to the sword. At this time, Yushi sent sound transmission to Qin Yun. Xiao Yun, our people will be sacrificed to the sword. I have no choice but to take action. After all, I'm the 9 Yang royal family's clan emperor. Xiaoxi, wait for me. I will be able to leave immediately. Qin Yun replied. Xiang Yanghong grabbed Qin Huang and said with evil grin, This guy is Qin Huang, a very good heavenly god. Let's use his blood first. Qin Huang has been bound by chains made from talisman tools. His body is sealed, and he can't release any power. Xiang Yanghong grabbed Qin Huang and brought him to the side of the flame essence pool. Then he placed Qin Huang's head inside the flame essence pool. The long sword slid across Qin Huang's neck and started to bleed. Qin Huang is very angry, but he is powerless to struggle. Qin Yun, Xia Wufeng, divine judge, Yushi and others are all extremely angry. Now Qin Huang is like a chicken being slaughtered, his throat is being cut open, and his blood is being let out. Divine Star Race, Primal Chaos Race, and Divine Sword Race's people all laugh loudly. They hate 9 Yang royal family very much because they are worried that 9 Yang royal family will become the strongest race under Myriad Realms Divine. Sunday, Qin Yun, since that the 9 Sun Divine Spirit has rested enough, and suddenly let out a loud shout. Everyone immediately looked at the huge Primal Chaos heavenly bell. They saw 9 altars floating inside it. Seeing those 9 altars, Xiang Yanghong immediately cried out in fear. Those are the 9 sun altars. They are all in his hands. Those 9 altars are very strong. What is he trying to do? Thunder God also cried out in fear. Those 9 altars belong to our 9 sun sects. We must take them back. Heavenly Mountain's sect master shouted. They also discovered that those 9 altars have dragon runes carved on them. With a glance, they can tell that they have been greatly improved. Marquis, she said with calm expression, Don't worry. He won't be able to break the Primal Chaos heavenly bell. Quickly bring out the Myriad Heaven Divine Sword. Although the 9 altars have become very small, they are still very powerful. Moreover, as they revolved around Qin Yun, they are absorbing formidable energy from his body. Qin Yun used the 9 Sun Divine Spirit to absorb the divine universe, Purple Sun's energy, and then released it into the 9 altars to activate the 9 Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation. The divine universe, Purple Sun's formidable energy is then transferred to the altars through the 9 Sun Divine Spirit on Qin Yun's wrist. If not for Qin Yun's powerful body, he would not have been able to withstand it. Divine Dragon soars to the heavens. Qin Yun activated one of the 9 Dragon Heavenly Origin Formations, Killing Formation. 9 kinds of light rays condensed into a 9-colored huge dragon that soared into the sky. The divine universe, Purple Sun's energy became incomparably powerful through the 9 Dragon Heavenly Origin Formations' condensed power. The transformed divine dragon burst out with waves of domineering dragon might. Roar! The divine dragon roared. Its huge dragon head smashed into the Primal Chaos heavenly bell. Boom! Following the explosion of an incomparably loud bell, everyone in the middle hall felt their ears ringing. The middle hall shook violently as a violent energy wave surged out from the Primal Chaos heavenly bell. Everyone present shuddered in fear from the terrifying energy. Even the elders from the powerful races were frightened by the power. Of course, their hearts were filled with greed. They wanted to snatch the 9 Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation. The primal chaos heavenly bell had not been smashed, but the energy within it had already surged out. "Don't let him come out," Xiang Yanghong shouted in fear. The might of the 9 altars combined, and the formidable power that erupted out was terrifying. Thunder God and the other big shots of the 9 Sun sects had come into contact with those altars before. They never expected that after Qin Yun refined them, they would have such terrifying power. "Marquis," she shouted, "don't even think of breaking through. My primal chaos heavenly bell is invincible." Just as he finished speaking, the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation erupted once again, and a gigantic 9-colored divine dragon appeared. Roar! The dragon's roar was filled with rage. Following that, an incomparably violent shockwave surged through the entire middle hall. The primal chaos heavenly bell had been breached. Everyone was so shocked that they started shouting loudly. At the instant it was broken, everyone present felt the powerful divine universe purple chi. "It's the divine universe purple chi? That guy controls a large number of divine universe purple crystals." Someone shouted in alarm. Xiang Yanghong was alarmed because the moment the primal chaos heavenly bell was broken, he felt a powerful killing intent lock onto him. "Quick, stop him!" Xiang Yanghong shouted and immediately fled to the door. Qin Yun was surrounded by 9 altars. The 9-dragon heavenly origin formation formed a barrier that protected him and also provided him with immense power. After the furious Qin Yun broke through the primal chaos heavenly bell, he used the light transformation sacred pupil to flash to Xiang Yanghong's side. Xiang Yanghong, who was alarmed, summoned his intrinsic divine sword and stabbed at Qin Yun. Qin Yun held the floating cloud staff in his hand and absorbed the energy from the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. "Die!" Chapter 2198. Marquis Shi swore that his chaos heavenly bell was very sturdy and could not be broken. But at that moment, it had been smashed to pieces. Therefore, the most furious person was Marquis Shi. He roared angrily and immediately charged at Qin Yun. The Chaos Heavenly Bell was mainly composed of materials from within the Chaos Divine Sun, and the divine power released by the 9 dragons' heavenly origin formation came from the divine universe Purple Sunday. It could be seen that the Chaos Divine Sun's divine power was suppressed by the divine universe Purple Sunday. When Marquis Shi charged over, the Chaos Race, Divine Star Race, Divine Sword Race, Thunder God, and many other experts followed closely behind. This was because they could tell that Qin Yun was very strong. Not only did he possess purple blood, he was also the Nine-Yang Palace King and the King of Gods. With such a foundation and completely unafraid of the powerful races, they had to act decisively and get rid of Qin Yun as soon as possible. As the experts charged over, all sorts of violent divine power surged and bombarded Qin Yun from all directions. Qin Yun's body was surrounded by 9 small altars. The 9-Yang divine spirit released the powerful divine universe, purple sun power, to maintain the 9 dragons' heavenly origin formations operation. Combined with the sun heavenly shield, it formed a very powerful defense. All sorts of powerful divine power bombarded Qin Yun's body in wave after wave, setting off an incomparably ferocious shockwave. Qin Yun's position was at the door of the central hall, not in the middle. Everyone's attention was focused on Qin Yun. As for Yu Shi and company, they immediately went to break the barrier that sealed the Sword Hall Elder and the others, allowing them to escape. Among the powerful primordial races, only the elders of the Divine Star Race, Chaos Race, and Divine Sword Race took action. The youngsters watched from afar because there was no room for them to intervene in such a battle. It had to be said that the central hall was very sturdy, as expected of the place where the myriad heavens' divine sword was forged. It had not been destroyed even after such an intense battle. At the central hall's door, all sorts of surging divine power roared and surged, flashing with divine power light of all sorts of colors. Many experts attacked Qin Yun, and they were all from powerful races. This made the youngsters of the powerful races shudder in fear. If it were anyone else, they would have died long ago. However, Marquis Shi and company failed to crack Qin Yun's defenses despite their combined attacks. When Shi Jinza saw Yu Shi and the others going to save the people from the Nanyang royal family in Nanyang Temple, he quickly shouted to Mu Jianchao and the other youths beside him, "Those women from Moon Palace are trying to save people. Let's go and stop them. Those women are really not bad. Whoever can grab them can keep them." Mu Jianchao laughed loudly and said, "Before coming here, Mu Jianchao and Shi Jianza asked Sword Sun Great Elder if they wanted a hand over Lu Yu, Shu Yin, and Bing Xing to them. However, the Sword Sun Divine Mountain's Grand Elder had said that the Sword Sun Divine Mountain wouldn't be able to do anything with the Divine Judge protecting them. Now that the Grand Inquisitor was sealed, no matter what they did, the Grand Inquisitor couldn't do anything to them." Shi Jianza grinned as he rushed towards Yushi and shouted, "Little beauty, I'm coming." Yushi once fused with the soul of Heaven-creating Palace Master Yu Tian and obtained the rune memories of Heaven-creating Palace Master. Therefore, she is now also an inscription master and needs her to break the barrier. Scram! Lu Yu Shuyan suddenly flew over with a red long saber in her hand and hacked at Shi Jinza. Dreadful killing intent pervaded the air. Accompanied by the saber edge, rushed toward Shi Jinza. Shi Jinza's expression slightly changed. He did not expect that these women would be so formidable. He had no choice but to retreat. Mu Jianchao, who was just about to rush over, was also stared at by Bing Xing's ice-cold and formidable divine power. His entire body immediately turned cold, causing him to not dare to rush over. Other powerful race youngsters can all sense Bing Xing and Lu Yu Shuyin's dreadful divine power. Shen Ruoming, your strength is not weak. Quickly attack. If these women let go of those 9-son royal family people, we won't have any blood to sacrifice to our swords. Shi Jinza promptly shouted after being beaten back. There are 3 9-son divine maiden over there. You want me to throw away my life? Shen Ruoming groaned. 3 9-son divine maiden. This caused the expression of Shi Jinza and other powerful race youngsters to greatly change. Their eyes are filled with fear. They now understand why this kind of divine power is so dreadful. It is actually 9-son divine maiden. While Shi Jinza and others are in shock, they suddenly felt a very powerful killing intent envelop them. By the time they reacted, they felt their bodies sink. They're being pressed down by an extremely heavy power. Spatial fluctuations surged over. Qin Yun actually appeared behind Shi Jinza. Qin Yun used the Heaven Extinction Steps, Transcending Space Step. Combined with spatial power, he can cross space. Just now, he noticed that Shi Jinza and others were about to attack Bing Xing and others, so he immediately transcended space from the 9-dragon Heavenly Origin Formation and arrived behind Shi Jinza. As for Marquis Shi and the other seniors, they are still attacking the 9-dragon Heavenly Origin Formation and did not notice Qin Yun's appearance. Shi Jinza, saw Qin Yun suddenly appear behind him and shouted as if he had seen a ghost. You lowly bastards also want to have any ideas about 9-son divine maiden? Qin Yun shouted in a deep voice, his long rod smashed down. Boom! With an explosive sound, Shi Jinza, the son of a primal chaos race marquis, was directly smashed into pieces. Shen Ruoming and Mo Duqian, the 2 young experts from powerful races, immediately felt their hearts jump. In any case, Shi Jinza was the son of a marquis and a baron, yet he was killed with a single rod strike. Mu Jianchao had already thrust his sword at Shi Jinza earlier. When he saw Shi Jinza being smashed into pieces, he felt endless fear in his heart. He wanted to escape, but his body is being pressed down by a very strong gravity. His speed is not fast at all. Boom! The God King spear in Qin Yun's hand shot out a bullet and directly penetrated Mu Jianchao's head. After the bullet penetrated Mu Jianchao's head, it immediately returned and once again penetrated Mu Jianchao's heart before returning to the God King's spear. It's you, the one who killed our 3 sword kings and war gods. Mu Jianchao suddenly shouted in alarm. because when the God King's spear shot out a bullet, the aura it released is very familiar to him. Previously, Divine Sword Race's fiery red warship's large mirror was shattered by Qin Yun's God King spear. Idiot, I'll send you to meet them now. Qin Yun's light transformation sacred eyes flashed. His body arrived behind Mu Jianshao like a light beam and ruthlessly smashed down with his rod. Mu Jianshao's body directly exploded into flames. Just like Shi Jinza, he was directly smashed into pieces. The God King spear in Qin Yun's hand suddenly shot crazily at the youths of the Divine Star Race, Divine Sword Race, and Primal Chaos Race. Those bullets could all fly back and then be shot out again. Those who weren't strong enough were instantly turned into beehives by the random bullets, especially the people from the Nine Suns sect and the Heavenly Law Divine Realm. Marquis Shi and the rest of the seniors also reacted at this moment and immediately rushed towards Qin Yun. I'm going to eat you alive. Marquis Shi's face was ferocious as he shouted angrily. When Qin Yun saw them coming over, he immediately used the Void Step and once again traversed through space, returning to the Nine Dragons' heavenly origin formation. Eat me alive? Just you guys can only go eat shit. Qin Yun laughed loudly. Xiang Yang Hong, who was sent flying just now, felt extreme fear in his heart. He shouted, "Ignore him! Hurry up and sacrifice the sword. Let the divine sword be born. Only the divine sword of the heavens can destroy him." Just as he finished speaking, Qin Yun fired a bullet from the God King's spear inside the Nine Dragons' heavenly origin formation. That bullet was refined from the Divine Universe Golden Stone. After it was shot out, it immediately exploded with a very strong divine power. Rumble, rumble, rumble. An incomparably terrifying explosion of divine power set off a large expanse of golden flames. Feeling the divine power, the seniors present all knew that it was at least a relatively large piece of Divine Universe Golden Stone that had exploded. This kind of spending was simply extravagant. Everyone suddenly felt that it was worth it for Xiang Yang Hong to be killed by such a piece of Divine Universe Golden Stone. The nameless old man knew that Qin Yun had a lot of Divine Universe Golden Stones in his hands, but he still felt a little heartache for Qin Yun. If it wasn't for this critical moment, Qin Yun wouldn't have used such a bullet. Xiang Yang Hong was dead. Not even dregs were left. Qin Yun was still within the Nine Dragons' heavenly origin formations barrier. With the 9 powerful altars protecting him, they couldn't do anything to him. Yu Shi and the others were only from the Nine Sun royal family and the Nine Sun Divine Palace. The Divine Star Race, Primal Chaos Race, and Divine Sword Race's youths have suffered heavy casualties. Their bodies have been pierced with many holes by Qin Yun's Divine King Spear. Especially Marquis Shi, his son actually died just like that. And Mu Jianshao's father is an earl. The Divine Sword Race's earl angrily said to Qin Yun, "You are dead for sure. You killed 3 of our sword kings and war gods. Our kings will definitely take action." Qin Yun currently doesn't have enough strength. Otherwise, with the help of the Nine Dragons' heavenly origin formation, he would definitely be able to kill the seniors of these powerful races. Fortunately, the powerful ancient races did not attack together. The Divine Moon Race, Heavenly Devil God Race, Divine Heaven Race, and Nine Sun Heavenly Race are just watching from the side. They now have a general understanding of Qin Yun's strength. They know that this Nine Sun Palace King is not someone to be trifled with. Boom! The 36 small stars surrounding the Grand Inquisitor suddenly exploded. The Divine Judge's face is filled with anger. He looked at the group of Divine Star Race people and angrily said, "You dare to attack me." When the group of Divine Star Race people saw the 36 small stars explode, their faces revealed looks of horror. The Divine Judge is holding the mighty heaven's divine punishment flag in his hand. He is extremely angry and directly charged towards the group of Divine Star Race people. Qin Yun is secretly delighted because the opportunity has come. At this moment, he directly arrived beside Thunder God with the 9 Dragons' heavenly origin formation. "My good disciple, it's time for you to repay what you owe your master," Qin Yun said coldly. Everyone is extremely shocked. Thunder God, is actually the king of God's disciple. I am Thunder God. I have a God position. You dare to kill me? Thunder God laughed loudly and said, Forget about you. Even the divine judge can't directly kill me. Just as he finished speaking, Qin Yin took out the divine king heavenly seal. When the divine king heavenly seal appeared, Thunder God's smile suddenly stopped. Then I will first take away your Thunder God position. Qin Yin controlled the formation's power and imprisoned Thunder God, making him unable to move. Then, the divine king heavenly seal directly imprinted on Thunder God's forehead. Chapter 2199. The appearance of the godly monarch, heavenly Mark, left Thunder God extremely surprised. This was because he always believed that the godly monarch, heavenly Mark, no longer existed. The god judge was also very surprised. Not only was the god king heavenly imprint still there, it was also very powerful, able to strip away a deity position. Qin Yin used the divine king heavenly seal to extract the Thunder God's deity position from Thunder God's body. This is only half of Thunder God's deity position. But after being stripped, Thor still felt great pain. Godhood was fused with the soul. For an old god like the Thunder God, his godhood had long since become a part of his soul. Stripping the deity seat was like tearing the Thunder God's soul apart. Qin Yin held the godly monarch heavenly seal tightly. With a thought, Thunder God's deity position automatically left his soul and flew into the godly monarch heavenly seal. Thunder God thought that he could still put up a few more moves, but before he could do anything, his godhood was stripped away. Qin Yin also has a powerful mental power. Otherwise, his progress would not have been so smooth. Through the divine Moon Dao image, he had opened up the profound God Dao meridian, allowing him to obtain an incomparably powerful mental force. Only then could he use the divine king heavenly seal to strip away a strong god's divine position. Thunder God endured a heart-wrenching pain and let out a blood-curdling scream that made everyone's scalp go numb. What kind of pain was that to make an old god scream like that? Thunder God's original body had been stripped of his divine position, which was equivalent to being crippled. His soul had been severely damaged, and he had lost all of his combat strength. Back then, you betrayed me. Did you expect this day to come? Qin Yun's ice-cold voice was filled with dignity and anger. Thinking back to the time when he was betrayed by the god of thunder and the goddess of love, it was as if it had happened just yesterday. Thunder God's face is filled with pain as he looked at Qin Yun and roared, You are an enemy of the heavenly Tao. No matter how many lifetimes you live, there is only death for you. Qin Yun's divine king heavenly seal suddenly became bigger. It became like a small house and fiercely pressed down. Thunder God was suppressed by the divine king heavenly seal, but he did not die immediately. Instead, he was tortured by the heavenly seal's heavenly punishment until he wished he was dead. After the deity king heavenly seal pressed down, it turned Thunder God into a pile of ashes. Thunder fire and wind billowed out in all directions. Thunder God's main body was dead, but he still had a clone imprisoned in the myriad world's divine court. This meant that he would have to die again and experience this pain again. Thunder God's tragic death also caused many people's hearts to tremble. The Grand Inquisitor had already broken out of the seal. If anyone else wanted to kill the God of Thunder, the Grand Inquisitor would definitely stop them. Because no matter what, only the myriad realms' divine court had the right to punish the gods of the myriad realms. But now, the person who attacked Thunder God had a godly king heavenly seal in his hands, and was once Thunder God's master. Back then, the king of gods had wielded the mysterious and powerful heavenly seal of the God King. Even the Grand Inquisitor had felt the terrifying heavenly might of the God King. We have a duke out there, Grand Inquisitor. If you don't want things to get ugly, don't interfere. Marquis Creek looked at the Grand Inquisitor. The all-heavens divine punishment flag of the divine judge was very powerful. It was through the divine power of this flag that he broke the divine star race's formation. In the central hall, Most of the people from Sword Sun God Mountain were dead, especially Grand Elder Xiangyang Hong, the sword slave of the myriad realms' divine son. His soul has already flown away and scattered. Without him, no one knew how the all-heavens divine sword would be born. However, the huge fireball floating above the flame pool in the middle of the hall is the sword embryo that nurtured the all-heavens divine sword. The all-heavens divine sword is still inside. Next, it only needs to be sacrificed to break out of the embryo. The Grand Inquisitor said coldly, "Divine Star Race, why did you seal me just now? I'm not afraid of your Duke. If you have the guts, let them come in." The young people of the Divine Star Race were also killed by Qin Yun's spear. The casualties were disastrous. The Divine Star Race also has a Marquis here. Just now, it was that Marquis who attacked. He is feeling extremely pained because those 36 stars are very precious. Grand Inquisitor, quickly get out of the way. Don't block us. Marquis, she glared at Qin Yun. His son was killed here. Moreover, quite a few of his Primal Chaos race's young people have also died. As a Marquis of the Primal Chaos race, he is currently unable to do anything to their enemy. This is truly incomparably sullen. Just as the two sides are in a deadlock, the fireball in the flame pool suddenly trembled. The sword embryo is moving. We need to quickly sacrifice blood to the sword. If we don't quickly sacrifice the sword embryo will explode. The Divine Sky Race middle-aged man anxiously shouted. Shen Ruoming looked at Qin Yun and said, "If the sword embryo explodes, no one will be able to obtain the All-Heavens Divine Sword. At that time, this mountain will also be destroyed, and no more powerful swords will be born." "What? Don't tell me you want me to sacrifice blood to the sword?" Qin Yun said with a smile. "You're the Nine-Sun Palace King, and also a purple blood person from the Nine-Sun royal family. If it is only your blood, it will definitely be enough to sacrifice the sword. Don't you want the All-Heavens Divine Sword?" Shen Ruoming said. Qin Yun said with a smile, "If I sacrifice the sword, then the All-Heavens Divine Sword will very likely be mine. Don't you want it very much? Why do you want me to participate? You might not be able to obtain it." Shen Ruoming smiled confidently. "My Divine Sky Race's Heavenly Sword King passed me a secret technique that will allow me to obtain the All-Heavens Divine Sword." Qin Yun said with a smile, "You are truly confident." Xia Wufeng said in low voice, "Old Brother Yun, the All-Heavens Divine Sword is very strong. Whether it is useful to you or not, you must try your best to obtain it." Hearing Xia Wufeng's words, Qin Yun also wants to give it a try. He wants to see if he can obtain the All-Heavens Divine Sword in passing. Then he said to the Divine Judge, "Divine Judge, you block them. I will go sacrifice the sword." After saying that, he immediately rushed towards the lava pond. At this time, Divine Sky Race, Divine Moon Race, Nine Sun Heavenly Race, and Heavenly Devil God Race's people also arrived at the side of the lava pond. Mo Fans Han said with a smile, "Little friend, although we know each other, my Heavenly Devil God Race will not give in to the All-Heavens Divine Sword." Divine Moon Race's Yu Liyuan also said with a smile, "I also came here for the All-Heavens Divine Sword. I will do my best to obtain it." There is no need to talk about Divine Sky Race's side. They will definitely help Shen Ruoming obtain it. And on the Nine Sun Heavenly Race's side, the Nameless Old Man and two other old men also have determined expressions on their faces. As for Divine Star Race, Primal Chaos Race, and Divine Sword Race, they are all blocked by the Divine Judge. Of course, they're not worried because they know that once the All-Heavens Divine Sword appears, it will be very violent. Even if they get close, they might not be able to obtain it. Xia Wufeng, Yuxi, and Bingxing are all beside Qin Yun to protect him. Xian Rujing and Lui Weshuyan are in charge of protecting Nine Sun Divine Palace and Nine Sun Royal Race's people. Qin Yun has already started bleeding. He let out a large amount of purple blood into the lava pond. Purple blood is indeed very powerful. Not long after he started bleeding, the huge fireball-like sword embryo began trembling. There's a reaction. Is it coming out soon? The Nameless Old Man said in low voice. Qin Yun suddenly opened his heavenly eye and looked inside the sword embryo. There is an embryonic form of a sword inside the sword embryo. It is currently absorbing a large amount of purple blood and lava. This lava is formed by the sword sun god mountain's natural formation, absorbing the energy of myriad worlds' divine suns. Lingyan suddenly said, Xiao Yun, the sword body is not completely formed, but it will be formed very soon. You better put the 9 desolate divine saber inside now. Qin Yun's heart stirred. He promptly took out the 9 desolate divine saber. It must be known that the 9 desolate divine saber is fused with a bloodline heavenly pattern box. Therefore, the 9 desolate divine saber also has the ability of the bloodline heavenly pattern box. It is a very strong fusion ability. Yushi is beside Qin Yun. She saw Qin Yun take out the 9 desolate divine saber and roughly guessed what he wants to do. Therefore, she promptly took out the 9 Sun Emperor Sword. The moment the 9 Sun Emperor Sword appeared, the dreadful Emperor power caused Shen Ruoming to be horrified. How can the 9 Sun Emperor Sword be in your hands? Shen Ruoming asked in alarm. After Qin Yun took out the 9 desolate divine saber, he stabbed at the fireball-like sword embryo. What are you doing? Shen Ruoming cried out in alarm. Those few divine heaven race elders are also extremely furious. They wish they could slap Qin Yun to death. But Qin Yun is surrounded by 9 altars. The 9-dragon heavenly origin formation can be activated at any time. They are unable to kill Qin Yun. Qin Yun said with smile, The myriad heaven divine sword is having a hard time giving birth. I am just helping. While letting out blood, he inserted the 9 desolate divine saber into the sword embryo. The process is very smooth. The 9 desolate divine saber entered the sword embryo. The divine heaven race elder said with sneer, Serves you right. If you were not meddlesome, you would not have lost such a good saber. Qin Yun's saber is very good. All the elders present can see it, but it has been devoured by the sword embryo. Qin Yun laughed in his heart. It is still unknown who will be devoured by who. Then he took out the Gemini treasure mirror and used the mysterious fusion heavenly runes power to illuminate the sword embryo. He continued to let out blood. Losing a large amount of purple blood made him very weak. Fortunately, he has a very powerful divine universe, purple sun, inside his 9 sun divine soul. Through the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation, he can absorb the divine universe, purple sun's energy, allowing him to quickly produce powerful purple blood. The sword embryo's movement is getting bigger and bigger. Its rotation speed is getting faster and faster, crazily absorbing purple blood and flame essence. The sword embryo suddenly became bigger. A formidable energy accompanied it and set off an incomparably scorching flame wave. Most of the people beside the flame essence pond are very strong. They can all block this flame wave. Through the heavenly eye, Qin Yun can see that what is gradually forming inside the sword embryo is not a sword but a long saber. Its shape is more or less the same as the 9 desolate divine saber. He placed the 9 desolate divine saber inside the sword embryo. It is like reincarnation. It directly swallowed and fused with the original myriad heaven divine saber. It's coming out. Shen Ruoming is very excited. His ice-cold and stinky face is now showing an excited smile. He promptly took out more than 10 divine talismans. Those divine talismans revolved around his body, forming a circle. It seems like a kind of sealing secret technique that can allow him to seal the myriad heaven divine saber. This kind of secret technique was created by the divine heaven race's heavenly sword royal noble. It seems to be very powerful. The fireball-like sword embryo suddenly trembled. It looks like it will explode at any moment. The flame essence inside the flame essence pond has been completely absorbed. The purple blood Qin Yun released is still pouring into the sword embryo. Boom! The sword embryo fiercely shook. Violent flame wave surged out in all directions. The sword embryo has been cut open, but what has appeared is not a sword, but a saber. This saber is very similar to the one Qin Yun used just now. The only difference is that the runes on the saber's surface have changed greatly. Chapter 2200. Shen Ruoming is very confident in obtaining the Myriad Heaven Divine Sword. It can be said that he is determined to obtain it. This is mainly because he has the full support of his Divine Heaven clan's Heavenly Sword King. Just as he was excitedly waiting for the birth of the Myriad Heaven Divine Sword, an accident occurred. Seeing the appearance of the saber, everyone immediately understood why Qin Yun deliberately let his saber enter the sword embryo. Clearly, he wants to borrow the sword embryo to produce an even stronger saber. Shen Ruoming looked at Qin Yun with a face full of anger. He is so angry that his gaze can kill. If he did not restrain himself, he might have already attacked. Furthermore, he does not have a certain amount of confidence in defeating Qin Yun. Qin Yun's 9-dragon heavenly origin formation is very strong. Not to mention Shen Ruoming. Even if Marquis Shi and the other elders take action, they would not be able to take down Qin Yun. I'm really sorry. This saber is mine. Qin Yun faintly smiled. Then with a wave of his hand, the saber flew into his hand. When he sacrificed the sword, he used Qin Yun's purple blood, and that saber originally belonged to him. Now that the saber has swallowed the Myriad Heaven Divine Sword, it is naturally under his control. Shen Ruoming is so angry that his face turned green. Shen Ruoming's current mood is very good. For example, when his wife gave birth, he was bitterly waiting for the big fat boy to give birth. He did not expect that he would give birth to a tortoise, and this tortoise is someone else's. The most infuriating thing is that the main culprit is happily laughing at the side. After Qin Yun held the 9 desolate divine saber, he said with a smile, "What should I call this saber? Let's call it Myriad Heaven Divine Saber." Most of the elders of the ancient races have extremely ugly expressions. They came here for the Myriad Heaven Divine Sword. But now the Myriad Heaven Divine Sword has become a saber, and they don't even have the chance to snatch it. The ones who suffer the most are the Primal Chaos race, Divine Sword race, and Divine Star race. They also have a large group of young people who suffered heavy casualties. I used my blood to sacrifice my saber. If this saber is not mine, then whose is it? Qin Yun laughed loudly. He looked at Shen Ruoming and the others and said with a smile, "To be honest, I'm still very grateful to you guys. If you didn't let me sacrifice my saber, I would not have this opportunity." Qin Yun really did not plan on vying for the Myriad Heaven Divine Sword, but he had no other choice. The opportunity had presented itself to him. He had no choice but to reject it. Marquis Shi and the other seniors who had besieged Qin Yun wanted to rush over to kill Qin Yun and snatch the saber, because in their eyes, swords and sabers were the same kind of divine weapons. Regardless of whether it was suitable for them to use or not, they had to snatch it first, but none of them dared to go over. Only Shen Ruoming's heart had already dimmed. It could be said that he was utterly disappointed. However, the elders of the Divine Sky Tribe didn't place as much emphasis on sabers or swords as Shen Ruoming did. In their eyes, even a saber was a very powerful weapon. They wanted to obtain it. It doesn't matter if you were the king of a Nine-Yang palace or the king of the gods in the past. You are currently just a fellow at the profound god realm. Even if you have the purple blood and are from the Nine Sons royal family, in our eyes, you are still not worthy of this divine saber. A middle-aged man from the Divine Sky race looked at Qin with a sharp gaze. Clouds. Qin Yun remembered that this middle-aged man was called Shun Changhao. He was from Shen Ruoming's clan. "I'm not worthy. Don't forget who was the one who bled it." Qin Yun said with sneer, "You guys can't even bear to bleed, yet you force me to do it. If I don't have the qualifications, who does?" Most of the people who wanted to snatch the Myriad Heaven Divine Sword were from powerful ancient races. They all had very powerful blood, but they were worried that when they sacrificed their blood to the sword would devour all of their blood. They were even worried that their bloodline would be stripped away. Therefore, they didn't dare to try it themselves. The Divine Judge also felt that Qin Yun's words were reasonable and said, "I suggested before that when sacrificing the sword, everyone bleed together. After the divine sword comes into being, everyone will obtain the divine sword based on their own ability. Later on, You let one person sacrifice to the sword. Then when the divine sword comes into being, it will definitely recognize that person. Qinyan never expected that the divine judge would make such a proposal before. Bing Xing said with sneer, but those guys are all afraid of death. They are worried that when sacrificing to the sword, they will throw their lives away. They don't even dare to bleed. What right do they have to say that others are not worthy of that saber? Exactly, Yushi said with sneer. These guys are truly ridiculous. Shen Changhao said in cold voice, whether it is the divine saber or the divine sword, we will do our best to obtain it. Then come. The 9 altars revolving around Qin Yun suddenly flickered with intense light. Just now, Shen Changhao saw Marquis, Shi, and others madly attacking the 9-dragon heavenly origin formation. It will be very difficult to break it in a short period of time. Only if those powerful dukes outside take action will they be able to break it in a short period of time. The myriad heaven divine sword has come into being. Although it has become a divine saber, it already has an owner. This matter can come to an end. The divine judge's voice is cold and filled with a burst of powerful might. He swept his eyes over everyone and said, "Today's dispute, I ask you to temporarily put it down. In the future, you can settle your grudges elsewhere. You cannot start a war in front of me. Divine Judge, those divine star people sealed you just now. Are you not going to beat them up?" Qinyan said. Those few divine star people's expression changed. If the divine judge gets angry, they will be very afraid. Because the formation formed by their 36 small stars was destroyed by the divine judge. The stars they used to seal me were all very precious. They were destroyed by me, so we could be considered even. The divine judge's gaze is stern as he looked at the few divine star people. If there's a next time, I won't be polite. Marquishi's low voice is filled with dense, killing intent. He said, "That guy killed my son. He also killed the Supreme Elder and a large group of Sword Sun God Mountain disciples. He massacred them right in front of you. Are you going to let him off just like that? Aren't you the incorruptible and impartial divine judge?" Lu Yushuyan said with a mocking smile. If it wasn't for the divine star people sealing the divine judge, the 9-Yang Palace King wouldn't have the chance to start massacre. In the end, it's still the divine star race's fault. Marquis Shi, think about it carefully. If the divine judge wasn't sealed, do you think the 9-Yang Palace King would have the chance to kill your son? Lu Yushuyan's words caused Marquis Shi and the others to be speechless. The divine judge coldly snorted. I represent the order. If I am sealed, no one will maintain the order. Then, whatever happens, of course you will bear the consequences. Every debt has its debtor. Go find a divine star race. Xia Wufeng said. The God Star race was cursing in their hearts. Their losses weren't small either, especially those 36 stars. They had directly exploded, but now they had to take the blame. All the powerful ancient races present are dissatisfied. The main reason is because they did not obtain the benefits they wanted. Divine Sky races Shun Changhao shouted, "Don't worry about this. We must obtain that saber. Then come and snatch it." Qinyan is already prepared to fight. He is not the least bit afraid of the Divine Sky race. The 9 desolate divine saber in his hand has devoured the myriad heaven divine sword and evolved into the myriad heaven divine saber. It has become very strong. It is no longer as easy to damage as before. After Shen Ruoming was disappointed for a while, he quickly stabilized his mood. He looked at Qinyan and asked, "What's your name? Don't say you're the 9-Yang Palace King, let alone the God King. Right now, no one recognizes you as the God King." "My name is Qinyan," Qinyan said. "Qinyan, right? All right, I want to fight you." Shen Ruoming said word by word. "All right, let's fight." Qinyan is not afraid of Shen Ruoming at all. You're not allowed to use weapons or that great formation. Shen Changhao shouted. "Do you dare?" Qinyan laughed loudly a few times and said, "I don't need weapons or great formation." Shen Ruoming, don't use your hands and feet, don't use your head. How about it? Do you dare? Everyone also feels that Divine Sky Race's request is very funny. Qin Yun's cultivation is so low, but he could be so unrestrained here because of the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation. And the Nine-Dragon Heavenly Origin Formation was created by Qin Yun using his own ability. It could be considered a part of his strength. Let's have a fair fight, Shen Ruoming said very confidently. If you win, you can do whatever you want to me. Mo Dutian laughed and said, Shen Ruoming, you are not a beauty. What can he do to you? You are truly too confident. Do you really think that men are interested in you? Shen Ruoming's expression suddenly turned cold. He wished he could stab Mo Dutian's mouth with his sword. Xia Wufeng is beside Qin Yun. He said in low voice, Brother Yun, that guy is a sword cultivator. His sword is also very strong. If you fight a sword cultivator without equipment, you should be clear about what kind of situation you will face. Qin Yun nodded and said, My cultivation is low, and I am not a sword cultivator. If they don't let me use equipment, there's no need to fight. I will just directly admit defeat. If you don't fight, you're not allowed to leave. Shun Changhao said, Our Divine Sky Race are also reasonable people. Don't force us to use rough methods to snatch. A3. You are reasonable, but I am an honest person. I don't understand your reasoning. Qin Yun shook his head and sighed. Shun Changhao said, Nanyang Palace King, if your Nanyang Divine Palace wants to stay in Divine Desolate, you better agree to our request. Are you threatening me? Qin Yun's calm gaze suddenly flickered with sharp light. His killing intent became incomparably overbearing. No. If you win against Shun Ruoming, my Divine Sky Race can protect your Nanyang Divine Palace for 10 years. Shun Changhao said, If today's matter spreads out, do you think your Nanyang Divine Palace will be at peace? Qin Yun thought about it carefully. If he had Divine Sky Race's protection, it would be pretty good. I am willing to fight, Shen Ruoming. If I lose, I will hand over my Divine Saber to you. If I win, Divine Sky Race will protect my Nanyang Divine Palace for 10 years and give me the best Divine Sky Race bloodline, Divine Origin. Qin Yun said, Bloodline Divine Origin is not particularly precious to strong races. Otherwise, Mo Dutian would not have been able to obtain it. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.